Yo, what's going on? Blaxican in Taiwan. NPC the game. Live from Taiwan. Happy Sunday over here. Busy week over here, man. What's going on, chat? Shadow Buddha in the house, bitch. Patrick, how you doing, brother? What? What's going on, fam? Godheart Guardian. Always a pleasure, man. Yes. Mermaids and Nephilim in the KGB Bible. Strangeness with Taiwan versus China. Filthy rich dinners. What's going on, Benjamin? And your clan? Your cult of excellence? Yeah, man. Some musings, man. Mermaids have been coming across my algorithm the last couple weeks, which is strange because normally I don't entertain that type of fantasy. You know, mermaids and unicorns and dragons. Nah, but it's been all over the place, man. And it's trippy because I don't know if you noticed it. These shorts of so-called elites eating mermaids at these banquets. It's like, come on, bro. That sounds like a psyop, if any, you know? These are all narratives, though. Your life might as well be a narrative. You wake up in the morning and you have continuity of what went on yesterday and the day before and the weeks and the years before. You have your language machine, your voice that you talk to yourself, putting this story together, right? It's all narratives. And the one about the mermaids, though, it's a trip, though. It's because even if it's real, I mean, it's not really affecting my life, you know? I'm an elite, not a so-called elite, but an elite, at least in my circle of influence, sphere of influence. But even if the story of elites eating mermaids to gain immortality is fake, I can still gain some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from it in dealing with the symbolisms of what mermaids represent. The symbolism. That's why I found in the KGB Bible, the King James Bible, they even talk about mermaids and unicorns and giants, which might surprise some of y'all. I mean, have y'all ever had a dream about a mermaid? You know? A dream about it? Like, or a siren, as they say. Yeah. Water, you know, anytime I dream about water, I get to thinking about the emotions and feelings, intuition. The dreams of a mermaid, in my opinion, might suggest to pay attention to your emotions and trust your instincts. Maybe you have to manage them better, your emotions. I mean, definitely Transformer. Transformation. Mermaids, because they're often associated with, you know, transformation. I mean, they're half woman, human, half fish. Or if you're a merman, half man, half whale. And pay attention to some change coming around the pipe in your life that's taking place. All you dreamers out there. fishy, Ruck with the comment, a fishy smelling who can't open her legs. Never thought that would be. Now that sounds like chlamydia. And what does it say? Tenacious thorn Leon, Noah, pure-blooded Nephilim, spawning the mighty man of renown, famous. Numbers, huh? 1612. Mermaids in the hood, bruh, for sure. The littlest mermaid. Look at this. Even before we get to the Bible, that one book that so many New Agers like to quote from, the Book of Enoch, even talks about mermaids, bruh. Let's see what they're talking about.
But they are not what you think they are. Genesis 6:4 recounts the tale of how 200 watcher angels rebelled against God and married human women. These women gave birth to giants who became kings over the land. These giants are found in different mythologies all across. Mermaids are in the Bible, but they are not what you think they are. Genesis 6:4 recounts the tale of how 200 watcher angels rebelled against God and married human women. These women gave birth to giants who became kings over the land. These giants are found in different mythologies all across the world. This story...
Now we say giants and people say they find giant bones everywhere. I'm thinking, like, once again, covering my bases, if it's not true, if there wasn't really giants, a man or a woman that showed improve beyond a mere mortal's ability, even though they're human, would seem like a giant to most, right? So if you're doing things that are spectacular with immaculate grace, you would seem like a giant, even if you're 6 foot tall.
The story is further explained in the book of Enoch, which is a mysterious text written by Noah's grandfather. In 1 Enoch chapter 19 verse 2, it says the women that bore these giants became sirens. Sirens are mermaids in Greek mythology and would lure in sailors with their magical singing. Mermaids are in the Bible, but they are not what you think they are.
They're not what you think. They're spawning demons. That's what they're saying. Let me lower this for a second. Okay, behind the scene baseball. So I can bump this up. Okay, so they're saying they're not what you think you are. Third time's a charm.
Genesis 6:4 recounts the tale of how 200 watcher angels rebelled against God and married human women. These women gave birth to giants who became kings over the land. These giants are found in different mythologies all across the world. This story is further explained in the book of Enoch, which is a mysterious text written by Noah's grandfather. In 1 Enoch chapter 19 verse 2, it says the women that bore these giants became sirens. Sirens are mermaids in Greek mythology and would lure in sailors with their magical singing.
It's like the police use that siren all the time. Yeah, you want to see buy me a coffee? Join my membership, how to level up in the Blaxican in Taiwan way. There you go. I feel like there you go. Buy me a coffee. Normally I don't really ask people to do them subscribing or whatnot, but I'm pretty close to 500 to monetization. I already got the hours, so we need about 40 subs. So yeah, man, hit the sub. Well, if not, hit the membership. Buy me a coffee right here. The link. Check out the different tiers of builded we can do. You know, it's always strength in numbers. It's always a way we like to do it. So hit that up. So let me see.
Check this out.
They skinned Matthew alive, crucified.
Okay, you skinned Matthew alive. There's one more. This one about the mermaids.
This book proves mermaids are evil. Is this why this book was removed from the Bible?
They're evil, huh? We'll see.
Book of Enoch explained a series of creatures, including mermaids. However, we are also told more details about these mermaids than ever before. For starters, we are told that mermaids are responsible for the creation of demons. And we're also told about exactly how mermaids were created. Here,
Bruh, the Bible blamed women for the creation or the propagation of evil, right? Adam and Eve. Adam was not holding frame in the Garden of Eden. And he let his lady dictate, this unnatural act of eating the fruit from the forbidden tree and causing the destruction of his bloodline of humans, us, I guess, And now the story is recycled or emphasized with another version of it. That's what I noticed about the Bible. It's many stories, the same story, iterations of the same story, like ripples, just to pound it in your consciousness and imprint it. So this is women as mermaids bringing evil into the
we are
world.
told that mermaids are responsible for the creation of demons.
You
And we're
believe
also
that?
told about exactly how mermaids were created. Here's how that happened. First, the Watcher angels mated with human women, and they created this hybrid species known as the Nephilim.
Thanks, boss.
These Nephilim creatures were then
Thanks, boss.
eradicated by God in a great flood, but their spirits became what we now call demons. However, how does this all turn back to the mermaids? Well, the women who mated with the Watcher angels were cursed to become mermaids. And these are the mothers of demons, since they co-created demons with the Watcher angels. Do you think the book of Enoch should have been removed from the Bible? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. This book is an extension of the book of Genesis, and it explains.
Hey, thanks, Rug. Appreciate that, bro. Yeah. You're the man. Thanks, Shadow, for putting that out there. Welcome, Cyber. Good to see you. Putting that sub out there. I mean, putting that buy me a coffee reminded me about that. Yeah. Appreciate that, bro. Nobody tell me shit. We been like shit. Nobody tell me shit. Nobody tell me shit. Yeah. Thanks, Locksmith, if you're watching first. Sharing the live. Appreciate it.
Did you know that an Italian...
This book proves mermaids are evil. Is this why this book was removed from the Bible? The book of Enoch explained a series of creatures, including mermaids. However, we are also told more details about these mermaids than ever before. For starters, we are told that mermaids are responsible for the creation of demons. And we're also told about exactly how mermaids were created. Here's how that happened. First, the Watcher angels mated with human women, and they created this hybrid species known as the Nephilim. These Nephilim creatures were then eradicated by God in a great flood, but their spirits became what we now call demons. However, how does this all turn back to the mermaids? Well, the women who mated with the Watcher angels were cursed to become mermaids. And these are the mothers of demons, since they co-created demons with the Watcher angels. Do you think the book of Enoch should have been removed from the Bible? Let me know your thoughts.
Do you believe that? That these women had sex with the fallen angels and they created the demons, the spirits, spawn of Satan? Fun fact from Godhard Guardian. It's illegal to hunt unicorn on Michigan if they don't exist. Yeah, that's fucking wild, bro. Why do they have that law? Hunting unicorns, huh? Maybe they're just following the Bible. That could be it, right? According to Pastor Kim from the Baptist Church in my hometown of San Jose, he talks about a lot of these magical creatures in the word for word, because a lot of these Baptists, they're all Bible, as they say. That's all they care about. See what he has to say. Pastor Kim from San Jose.
The earth. Now, what did Genesis 1 said about the dry land? He called the dry land what? Earth. Now look at chapter 7. Look at who died at chapter 7. Genesis 7, and we'll look at verse 21. And all flesh died that moved where? Upon the earth. Look at this, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the land, died. And every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the where? Ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. Did you ever saw fish in there? No. But you know what 1 Corinthians 15 said? 1 Corinthians 15 said different flesh. This verse said all flesh, right? 1 Corinthians 15 said there are different flesh. Man, beast, creeping thing, and fishes, and birds. You don't see fish here. You don't see fish here. You also got to think about this. Obviously, Noah did not have an aquarium inside the ark. You also got to realize that too. So in Genesis chapter 7, here's another interesting thing. It says nostrils, breath of life, right? Fish don't breathe in air, you got to understand. The Word of God can be much more interesting than you think. And you thought Bible study was boring, right? That's what you thought, right? You thought Bible study was boring. Well, you got to study the Word more. You got to be a Bible believer in a Bible-believing church, and you'd be surprised. So notice that fish are not mentioned. Here's another fun fact, which I mentioned in my other video. It is said that 90% of the sea is undiscovered, of what's in the sea. So whatever creatures are in the sea, it's like undiscovered. Here's another. Interesting thing. Even scientists today talk about that when we go down, lower and lower in the sea, we see strangers and stranger creatures when we get into a darker and darker part of the sea. And there are creatures in there that we don't know about either. They'll pick out some they'll know about, but they don't know every creature in the dark bottom of the sea. But here's another interesting thing, okay? As you go deeper into the sea, where are you getting closer toward? Deeper towards the bottom of the sea is an inch closer toward hell. And you get closer toward where hell is located. But look at Jonah 2. Look at Jonah 2. This is interesting. Go to Jonah 2. Jonah, he was swallowed by a whale, right? Swallowed by a big fish. But notice as he keeps talking when he was swallowed by the fish, and it goes deeper and deeper toward the bottom and bottom, dark parts of the sea, and then he comes down to hell, it mentions. Now look at Jonah. Jonah chapter 2. And it's really interesting that he says this. First, he mentions that it's in the whale's belly. Okay? That's what you're going to find out first. And then you're going to find out that he talks about in hell language. Now look at Jonah chapter 2 and look what this prophet said in verse 1. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of where? The fish's belly. All right? Now keep reading. And said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me. Out of the belly of where? Hell cried I. Well, that's not literally hell. Well, keep reading here, okay? Verse 3, for thou hast cast me into the deep, in the midst of the seas, and the floods compassed me about. All thy billows and thy waves passed over me. So notice that he's like at the bottom of the sea here, all right? But keep reading as it goes lower. Verse 5, the waters compassed me about, even to the where? Soul. It's transitioning. It's transitioning from something physical to something spiritual. The depth closed me round about, the weaves were wrapped about my head. Now look at this part here. Verse 6, I went down to the where? Bottoms of the mountains. The earth with her bars, notice, was about me forever. Look at this. So he's at the bottom of the mountains, and the earth, like bars, is about him, surrounding him. So he's in an enclosed space of the earth at the bottom of the mountains. It says bars of the earth, right? Hell has what? Bars. Not only that, Jesus said what? He used Jonah as an example. I will be in the heart of the earth. Did he not?
Yeah. Thank you, ruled by Saturn. He's saying that they live in hell has bars, not the kind of bars you drink from. Right. Tenacious, you say this guy knows nothing. Okay, I wouldn't say nothing, bro. I would say even a retarded person knows something. Right? That's kind of a stretch. I get it if you're, if this is your thing, how you identify as a, Bible scholar and follower of Christ and God. And I don't know. Yeah, let me know what he's, like Aaliyah says, let me know. Let me know what he's wrong about, I'm curious. If you want a link, I'll give you a link. I'd rather talk than read a comment about anyway. Yeah. Good to see you, ruled by Saturn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He knows nothing. Okay. That's really not accurate, probably. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? I'm just curious, bro. Like, when people have a point of contention, but say nothing, that doesn't seem very accurate. And I got no skin in the game with Pastor Kim. I mean, the only thing that's going for him, I guess, is that his congregation's in my hometown, which I love, but I never met him or anything. Anyway, let's go.
I say that. 3 days and 3 nights. As Jonah was in the whale's belly, so will the Son of
Let's
Man
go,
be in
legends,
the
bruh.
heart of the earth. But not only that, look at the next part. Yet hast thou what? Brought up my life from corruption, O Lord my God. That's coming back from the dead there. Because look at Acts chapter 2. Look at Acts chapter 2. Because let's be honest, these critics, they have a right to say, how can you survive 3 days and 3 nights in a whale's belly? Obviously you can. He died. And guess what? He went to hell. That's why when he talks about aquatic language here, sea, whale, in the belly, weeds, you see this transition towards something soul and spiritual. The waters compassed me to the soul. Earth with her bars compassed me forever. Out of the belly of hell cried I. See that? He was fading out here. Look at Acts chapter 2.
He's fading out, huh? Okay, you got all caps still. Let me see. I guess that's in season right now. Tenacious with a comment. Adam, DNA first. award, position, fallen, eating of the forbidden fruit, gardener. Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, son of God. DNA, emoji, Luke chapter 3, verse 38. Okay. Yeah. See, I take this stuff as at one level I have the two brains like Yakub's father. I can take it literally for sure. I'll give people that, but then I'll also look at it the symbols of it, which okay, Ruck. See you later, bro. Thanks for the donation. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, the symbols, right? Look at that board, that whiteboard. All flesh died on earth. We can find some symbols about that. The flesh dying on earth, right? And reminding us to be spiritual here and be in our thoughts and imagination and how they relate to what's going on here and now. The fish, the waters of your emotion and your waters of your intuition, navigating that. 90% of the sea creatures, 90% of the sea is untapped. That could be the subconscious. There's really conscious and subconscious is probably the same thing. It's just that we can divide the subconscious into one part of the mind, right? That's maybe the generating the 10% of the conscious mind. So that's interesting. The deeper you go down in the sea, deeper in your consciousness, in your subconsciousness, the closer you get to hell. The closer you get to some of these things you don't want other people to see, some of these things that you need to work on, right? And then I guess from what you're saying, let's go with this one right here. Hey, what's going on, Vengeful? Good to see you. Good to see you, brother. Tenacious with a comment. Cain went out into the land of Nod. Land of Nod. Cain. Let's go synchromysticism. Cain from menace to society, who was a menace to society, who was a menace to his people in the hood, land of Nod, land of opium and heroin, and he taught the daughters of men, tilling the gardens of Genesis, using your hands to cultivate what is yours, the forbidden knowledge of root cutting. That's his dad, Adam, taught Cain. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to use. Thank you for that comment right there. Some knowledge.
And that was a prophecy of Jesus Christ. Look at verse 27. Verse 27. Because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell. And remember, Jonah said, out of the belly of hell, and my soul was compassed with waters. But keep reading. Neither wilt thou what? Suffer thine Holy One.
What's up, Lady Luck?
Corruption. And remember what Jonah said, you brought up my life out of corruption. See, he died. So there's no doubt that Jonah, he died and he went to hell. So Jonah 2 and onward, Jonah, as he went deeper into the sea, he was going deeper, transitioning more and more into where? Hell.
Deeper you get in the subconscious, the closer you get to hell. You start peeling back. That's why this enlightenment, it's not all fun and games for some people, because they hit some stuff, some trauma that's really deep down there that they've been trying to hide, you know? Yeah, bro, this is fun. I enjoy these. Look, Patrick with the comment. I enjoy these deep stones of yours, brother. Yeah, let's get stoned off the natty. Patrick, here are some keys to manifestation of anything you want. Check this out. Number 1, spiritual work. Right? You gotta set the table. Number 2, physical work. You gotta cook. You gotta cook. You gotta put your hands in. Right? Your 2 hands are those branches, those sturdy branches, in your legs are the sturdy roots. You're the magical tree here and now. 3, have certainty. Be confident in your abilities and what you've created. And 4, pray and meditate. Focus, focus, focus. I love it. Thank you for that, Patrick.
it brings up an interesting question if this fish or whale that swallowed Jonah might be something spiritual. It brings up an interesting fact. But I can't prove it. It's a possibility to think about, though. It's a possibility
Meditate
to
on
think
it.
about. But let's keep reading right here about the scriptures. We're going to look at
Got a couple more minutes of this, Kim.
Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20. So we see right here that the bottom of the sea, there's this relationship with sea and hell throughout the Bible. Sea and hell throughout the Bible has some kind of relationship concerning what? Bottom. As you go deeper and deeper to the bottom. But that could explain why, here's another thing to think about, this could also explain why that if there were reptilian supernatural creatures, the giants, that survived through the flood. Why? If it relates to demonic activity in the waters. And those creatures, they survived through the flood, and they were able to continue on the offspring of the giants after that, and other supernatural strange creatures.
We saw this one guy dive on a show where he was a diver for GoPro and making a documentary, and he said he dove in the Indian Ocean, and he went down and he saw another ocean or lake underwater, like in a bubble. Yeah, it's crazy shit. Yeah. Yeah, the great legend of Cthulhu living here in Taiwan, District 13, in the waters over here. The back rooms of the Taiwan Strait in the Pacific Ocean, they have the Cthulhu, the old gods, as they say. Right, living in the ocean in his slumber asleep. He's the leader of his kingdom. This is where definitely Godzilla comes from. As he pops out of the Pacific and terrorizes the metropolis in Japan and Okinawa, which is actually Taiwan.
That's why more of it you'll see more from the bottom of the sea than in outer space. We're going to look at the book of Revelation chapter 20.
So you just say you'll see more aliens and more weird creatures at the bottom of the sea than you'll see in space. I mean, that goes along with Dune. They were in the far reaches of the universe, the known and unknown universe, and they never came across an alien per se, a non-humanoid. Even though some of those humanoids were weird that they came across or became. Same thing in here. There's the extraterrestrials. That's like above your pay grade maybe. The terrestrial, the Earth beings here, that's some weird shit, bro. On the surface. Shit, can you only imagine under the surface what's going on down there?
And we're going to look at verse 13. And the sea gave up the where? Dead which were in it.
Thank you very
Why
much,
are there
Lady Luck.
dead souls, something like that, in the sea? Keep reading. And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. Why is there a relationship here? See that? Where souls are in the bottom of the sea and where souls are in hell. See that? So you got to realize this. There is no doubt some kind of connection in the Bible with the bottom of the sea and with hell. Why? Because right below the bottom of the sea and hell, right below the bottom of the sea, the closest location would be hell. But not only that, why would the ocean get darker and darker?
You hit the bottom of your life, Skid Row. That's hell, right? All the demons show up there, and it gets dark. Literally, some of those neighborhoods, the lighting's not even that good. Let's go, Godheart. Sumerian tablets have a name of hell, which is the deep. Wow, the deep. Damn. There we go. Tenacious with the comment. Shemiz took over tilling the Garden of Eden after Adam was cast out of the Garden of Eden. So who's this? Shemiza. Interesting. To the earth. To till weeds till the day he died. Ha! Weeds, right? What kind of weeds? I think you got it right here. God rested. Got stoned on the very good herbs he created. Some of the most psychedelic substances you could ever ingest is cannabis, definitely.
Can hardly see anything. What is hell known as? A place of outer darkness. The bottom is known to be very dark. If you want to go exploring in the sea, I'm not going to do that in the bottom of the sea. I don't want to go in. I don't want to go deeper over there. It's strange stuff.
Yeah, I think I know Jacques Cousteau, the great explorer and documentarian, he stopped going down deep in the submarine because he started to hear screams, like human like screams down there, and he couldn't. It was a bit too much for him.
Strange stuff. But not only that, look at Amos 9. Amos 9. Can these creatures still exist, Pastor? I believe yes. But here's another no. I believe it's very, very rare, okay?
Yeah.
So don't expect when you go swimming some kind of creature named Jaws is going to come out and eat you up, all right? It's not going to be something like that. Shark attacks are actually extremely rare. I don't know if you knew that, statistically speaking.
Yeah, but the psyop of the magic silver screen just penetrated and imprinted on the humanoid's brains the fear of the unknown of a great white shark coming up and eating you, even if you're in freshwater. That's madness, bro. The power of the silver screen, the power of to define as a producer, a creator, the power of having folks giving into your astonishment. You know, when they see something on the screen, it mesmerizes them than if you were to tell them in person a lot of the times. Right? Comment from a Lady Luck. So yeah, you heard about that too, about Jacques Cousteau, huh? Let me see. Okay, tenacious Leon. The ocean gets darker and darker the deeper you go, because the sun can't penetrate the deep. Right. Right. So I think that's why that's why those creatures down there, they have the beautiful colors, like the Avatar. No, Avatar's mimicking those colors of those deep sea creatures down there that produce their light for their own fluorescent light. Right. Let's see. Tenacious Leon with a comment. He's looking out for us. I give you that. Thank you, Leon. This guy's a fraud. He's scared to debate me. I have screenshots of our debating back and forth. Oh, I like to see that. That's interesting. Reminds me of what's he scared of, huh? Is he scared of the terms? Maybe because it's an away debate, right? Not a home court debate on Pastor Kim's soil. You know, I don't know. I got to do some more research on that. Godhard Guarding with the comment reminds me of that 8 Mile Russian hole that dug and they recorded. Oh shit, bruh. Yeah. Oh, it's Russia or Poland where they have supposedly a portal to hell, to a hell. The great Elijah Muhammad, the great teacher, he said that she probably got from the Buddha, a Buddha. Heaven is a state of mind. The hereafter you are awakened to the knowledge of self. Heaven is a state of mind, right? Hey, but like I said, I gotta take the literally. Growing up as a Catholic, there is in my genes, Islamic genes, and my father from Mali. There is a day of judgment.
I know that's surprising. I didn't believe that either until I researched it. But shark attacks are actually known to be very rare. So these demonic creatures, they're going to be even more rare, actually. Look at Amos chapter 9. It is very possible this can currently happen, because look at this. This is after Noah's flood. Look at Amos chapter 9 and verse 2. Let's start off with verse 2. Though they dig into where? Hell, then shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. Now look what follows with going deeper into hell and going higher to heaven. Look at verse 3. And though they hide them, and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in where? The bottom of the sea. Look at this. Thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Ooh, do you know who that serpent is? The serpent?
That's me. I'm here with the snake.
It's Revelation 12. That's Leviathan. Look at, I mean, I showed it in my other video, so I'm not going to do it here, but you can look at Revelation 12. That old serpent called the devil and Satan, that deceiveth the whole world.
You see that in Star Wars numerous times in space when they're fucking around in those asteroids. Han Solo them in the Millennium Falcon when they get trapped and they're hiding out on the rock and the creature, a snake-like creature, tries to eat them. But you also see it literally in the bottom of Nibiru in the Star Wars with Jar Jar Binks when they go down there, when the Jedis go down there, Obi-Wan and Jin, they go down there and try to escape. Not escape, they're given a ship to go rescue the princess. And this one sea creature tries to attack them. And I'm making a reference to these creatures that were that saved themselves by going deep during the Noah flood, right? Right, these creatures. But then what happens is, as this demonic creature will say, is chasing the Jedis, a big serpent or Leviathan comes and eats that that monster, right? So I see some connection there. I can do some synchronous mysticism equations right there in real time.
Look at the book of Isaiah. Leviathan, that crooked serpent, he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. So you got to realize this Leviathan, he's not just swimming. I showed you videos, a lot of videos about demonic activity in outer space. That's why weird stuff like UFOs. Satan, he fought against Michael and his angels at the stars of heaven, outer space.
Okay.
That's why Satan's connected with the prince of the power of the air. A lot of it is up there. But you got to realize...
All you Gemini fucks. We love you. Gemini, the prince of this earthly realm, or the airwaves. Y'all are masters at communication. Digital communication in the air, in space. Have a good sleep. Sleep easy, Patrick. Take care, bro. Thanks for leaving me on. Lady Luck with the comment. This is an interesting watch for us baptized Roman. Yeah, I was baptized Roman Catholic for sure. And there you go. But you have the word baptized. Pastor Kim right here from San Jose. He's a Baptist. And what I've reckoned is a lot of Baptists are the Bible. That's top priority, right? Their Bible. So this is like, for example, this class right now, this broadcast is a Roman Catholics taking Bible study from a Baptist. I mean, he's just reading from the Bible, exactly from the Bible, the King James version of the Bible. All right, he's giving a little bit of interpretation, but even with that, take with it as you will and make your own interpretation. I'm focusing that in the actual Bible verses he's reading. You see how it relates to what I'm doing right now, what we're doing here in the collective.
It's not just outer space, it's also in the bottom of the sea. You know why? Because hell is over there. You got to realize that. Hell is located down there. That's where the devils are. They're in hell. So he has a lot of activity going down right there too. It's extremely interesting. That's why I don't want to go down like really deep. You don't know what might happen. You don't know what might happen when you go across there.
The
Not only
abyss.
that, a lot of it is undiscovered at the sea. That's why you see a lot of strange creatures. How did these giants and supernatural creatures survive? Perhaps they came up out of the sea. Perhaps when the water started to abate, and some of these sons of God, well, not sons of God, it would be the mutants, reptilians, and these weird creatures would start to come out again, and that's how the giants came across the land again. One more gold mine. I taught this at a different study. One of the lowest elevations in the world is the Dead Sea. Interesting, Dead and Sea. And guess what? Sodom and Gomorrah, they were burned with hellfire, literally hellfire, right? They were no more than 20 miles away from the Dead Sea. A lot of connection right there with the bottom of the sea, with the top of hell.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, hell in the bottom of the sea. The farther you go down into the subconscious, the closer you'll get to your personal hell. There's a new movie that's gonna come out in about, or maybe it's already here, but about the ocean disappearing. Right? What is it called? Ocean disappears in an hour. Yeah. Then what comes on? What comes up after that? Let me show this real quick. Oh, it's called Survive. That's what it's called. Survive. I don't know if you heard of it before. So if the ocean did dry up, what would be left? What would be left? Would that be like a gateway opening up for things that normally are down deep and being kept in check by the water? Yeah, that's not good. Almost coming up on an hour, huh? Oh yeah, this is it right here. So that's that symbolism, right? Some of us grew up watching that movie. What is it called? The Little Mermaid. Tell me. Put a 7 in the chat if you ever heard of The Little Mermaid. Let me see. I'm sure some of you have heard of it before. Lady Luck with the comment: deep sea creatures would have to adapt to walking on land if the ocean disappeared. Yeah, they would, huh? You would think, right? You would think. Hey, Logical Spark, good to be there. Good to have you there. All right. Let me see the comment. Tenacious Leon: aliens took flight in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 before the flood, when all the planets were gathered together. Okay. Yeah, where did they go? Deep into space, huh? Deep into the outer space. My older brother had his first kiss watching the Little Mermaid, huh? Yeah. I know a lot of people have this thing about in the red pill, black pill space about Disney programming people's mind, especially men and women, young kids, boys and girls, about like male-female sexual dynamics, and how you're supposed to handle that stuff. So so the Little Mermaid, right? So he had his first kiss right there. Okay, we'll get to that. NPC comment from Little NPC: there has been a great white shark washing up on Australian shores with great chunks taken out of them. You have to wonder what's down. Yeah, what's taking a big chunk out of a great white? I know whales are bigger than great white sharks. What's doing that, huh? I don't know. Great white sharks, they constantly have to be moving in order to breathe. That's why when they put them in the tank, in captivity, they don't last very long. They don't have enough area probably to be in motion. Posted the video about the Disney girl. I bet, yeah. Awesome. You can drop your link. I'll go, most likely I'll have time to come up. I'll drop the link probably soon enough. When I drop it though, don't wait. Don't jump up before it's too late. All right. If you would like to come up. yeah, we're talking about the Little Mermaid too. Talking about Mermaids to reset the broadcast. NBC The Game Live from Taiwan. Mermaids and Nephilim giants, right? In the KJV Bible, King James Bible, strangeness with Taiwan and China. Filthy rich dinners. Always coming almost to the end of this segment. But I wanted to bring up the Little Mermaid in the sense that how that movie did weigh on our consciousness a lot. Was it Hans Christian Andersen who wrote that? I think in the early 1900s, right? Yeah. And he definitely, the more I think about it, he definitely filled that story with Freudian concepts and references to the id and the ego and the superego. I have to say, probably the sea where Ariel began her story could be seen, like I said earlier, as the unconscious mind, right? And then what do you call that? The id? ID, right? Yeah. I mean, because she's it's freeing down there. It's like your unconscious mind you're free to do whatever, you know, because it's so deep and it's safe in a sense, and that's all you know. That's why Ariel's in the beginning of the story and in the movie, she's literally swimming and playing and enjoying herself, and with no fear of judgment, and just very confident in herself and her thoughts. And anything that's beyond that life for her, it's like a dream, basically. You know, in our dreams, especially if it's a good dream, it's not too nightmarish, you can basically do anything, right? And I'm sure you could do, for the most part, almost anything here on Earth. It's just a matter of having discipline and being able to control your will to accomplish that. But in the story, when she emerges above the sea level, I'll relate that to the realm of the ego, right? The condensed consciousness, awareness. And when she does, as Ariel does that, she has to kind of suppress her true thoughts and desires. Yeah. She literally has to silence herself. She loses her tongue. She can't even speak. Right? And when she's up there, it's literally the related to the superego, where her moral judgment is what literally drives her to rescue that drowning prince and stop him from being harmed. You know, and she literally gives up her life, you know, to save him. That's the superego, probably or was Jung call it the collective consciousness and whatnot. Yeah. The story's being played out, man. In my life, especially if you have a special partner, a woman in your life, or a man if you're a woman, that really does it for you. You literally have to sacrifice yourself and a lot of your things that you hold as a priority and your purpose in order to help your partner in need sometimes. Right? I'll play this in the background while I read this my narrative, our narrative, my real Little Mermaid story right here. There's my mermaid right there, Rebecca, Miss NPC. Yeah, she gave it up. The collective consciousness, the super ego, which is like kind of like our moral judgment, right? That's why she felt like she had to do it, right? And that when she gave up her mermaid fish tail, her legs, she had to give up something, and she paid a heavy price. She gave up her voice. She gave up her motion. I mean, she took motion in traveling on land in exchange for her beautiful voice, her tongue. So, in The Little Mermaid, Ariel, she had to lose her voice in order to become human and obtain the man she desires, so she can walk on land. And the young mermaid had to surrender her speech, right? And which was one of the things that made her the most happy, is her singing. So in order to get her man, she had to give up her voice. Yeah. And don't get it twisted. You know, I mean, I've been schooled on the red pill and the black pill and all the blue pill and everything in between, you know. But there's something to be said about how a real woman a lot of times will humble herself and mute her voice in order to save face for her man, you know. And in giving herself to her man, a lot of times a woman has to loses the ability to express her opinion, and simultaneously probably her identity to a certain extent, the life she used to live. Now, if she has a just man, that king, emperor, who uses mathematics and science, critical thinking, he's gonna of course he's gonna have her give her opinion on things and whatnot, because technically if he's gonna marry her, that woman becomes his most trusted and most valued advisor in life, you know. Yeah. What's going on with Leopard Prince? Yeah. Good to see you, Little Mermaid, Leopard Print. Good to see you, sis. Let me drop a link to the Discord. Should I make it infinity or 7 days? I guess you have to find out. There's a link to the hyperspace Discord for your tryout. Yeah. Good people, good content, good leveling up with some good laughs too. Meet me at Aspen voice chat. Yeah. What's up, homies? Ooh, look at this one, Leon. Tenacious Leon, when you have a wife, you sacrifice your life for her, not God. That's scripture. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yep. Remember that. I like the whole thing. It's like a hierarchy. Man gets the message from his father, God. Wife gets the message of God through her husband. And the children get the message of God through their mother. And then the children, I add this caveat, who are the they're the mavericks of the newest member of the family of the entity that was just on the other side, the representative of your genetic line, of what your purpose is as a genetic family, what you're supposed to do, and they show you what to do. All right, you get to see your interpretation of God's guidance through your wife and children, manifested on your children, who, if you're paying attention to them, they lead you what you're supposed to do. I love it. 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 Yeah. You remember when Ariel was dancing for him, danced with the prince, and despite like the you can say it looked like she had having like excruciating pain at time, getting used to her legs and embarrassment. She danced with them purely for his enjoyment, because she got happy seeing him happy. She was his angel in the house. Talking about fallen angels and whatnot. Yeah. She was literally submissive and subservient to her husband. She couldn't even speak. She was silenced. I think she was, like, if you look at that movie again, or read the book, even better. Ariel literally became an example of a typical Freudian case study. Because, you know, Freud was always about repression and whatnot. I'm telling you, that ocean is the subconscious. It's the subconscious. Yeah. So if anyone has any takes on the mermaids, you know, what they represent to you. Because like I said, real or fake, you get some wisdom, which leads to understand. You get some knowledge, which leads to wisdom, which will eventually lead to understanding of what these stories and symbols mean to you. Because your life is a narrative, right? Here and now. What part of your story brought you to this point you are right here? You know, what does it mean to you? Yeah. What does it mean to you? So I dropped a link. Don't sleep. Here's the link, but don't wait to jump in too long. Yeah. Pinned. Like I just blocked your shot. Playing basketball. So Taiwan. I live in the island of Taiwan, and there's been a lot of news. There's been some news lately about Xi Jinping, the president of China, leader of China, the Communist Party, talking about Taiwan. And we probably have our own mermaids here around the island. Supposedly, this place was one of the Atlantis outposts, right? Because Atlanta sounds like if there wasn't Atlantis, it wasn't just one place. There was multiple places throughout the earth and whatnot. Yeah. So this island of Taiwan, or Formosa, which in Portuguese means beautiful island, is a very valuable island. It's beautiful. The food is excellent, and delicious, and the people are cultured. And they're welcoming, anywhere from a young person to an old person. Yeah. It's a really special place here in Taiwan. You know? I didn't always see it like that here. But recently I've come to this realization, because I'm probably feeling better than I have in my whole life right now as I'm speaking to you. And with that said, one thing we do hear about is this this Taiwan. They said, never done this before. The President Lai set 2027 as a potential invasion time frame of China, off the words of the CCP talking about they want their military ready for an invasion by 2027. All right. So let's hear what these knuckleheads have to say. Oh yeah, I remember you told me that he loved it. They said your brother's been here. Yeah, it's a great place, Lady Luck. I mean, you should come visit. Yeah, if you like. I know you like cool places.
The Taiwanese military is finishing up a week of rapid response exercises aimed at boosting the island's ability to react to threats from China. Beijing claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has vowed to take the self-ruled democracy by force if necessary. Recently, there's been an uptick in tensions after China sent dozens of military planes into areas near Taiwan. DW's East Asia correspondent James Chater reports now from Taipei.
Taiwanese tanks this week are rolling through the streets of the self-ruled democracy. They're taking part in exercises responding to a potential surprise attack by China. The drills came as they monitor China carrying out exercises of its own, in which Beijing's warships and drones encircled the island. It's the latest dialing up of friction between the two sides. Taiwan's ruling Democratic...
Oh, I don't know if you heard me, what I was saying. I hope you did. What I was saying is, and I'll say it again, lately there's been a lot of talk about China and Taiwan. There always is in the West, the military industrial complex, always rumors of wars going on, you know, potential wars. But people live their life every day here. It's been like that since 1949 here in Taiwan, when the loser of the Civil War, the KMT, came to China, the Nationalist Party, came from China to Taiwan, right? They lost their battle against the communists. But here's the thing. Earlier in the week, Xi Jinping, the leader of the Communist Party in China, he said he wanted his military ready by 2024 to be able to invade Taiwan, right? And because of that, something unprecedented happened in Taiwan, where their president, who currently is William Lai, who used to be the mayor of my city where I live now, he said that he wants the Taiwanese military ready to defend the island by 2024. Now, the way the media has been saying this, framing this is like there's going to be an invasion on 2027, but you don't know that. It's just they want their militaries ready by then, right? With that said, it does make me think about how even with some, I'm having some of the greatest days of my life I've ever had here, and in my mind, I still think about long term about my future here in Taiwan, and currently, what would I do if the war does break out here, right? I mean, this is why I listen to certain news stories and keep my ear open, my ears open, so I can figure out, you know, what I'm dealing with, what we're dealing with, because that could be a sign of stress for one to deal with, knowing that there's a possibility that you literally could have a war going on your street. Same street where your children play soccer and basketball. The same park where you walk your dogs. The same movie theater where you take your girlfriend. You know? So let's hear what they have to say about what's going on over here. Cheers.
Progressive Party, or DPP, recently unveiled no less than 17 new strategies to counter what the president called Chinese infiltration in Taiwan. And this week, Taiwan's defense ministry cited 2027 as a year of a potential Chinese invasion for the first time, while at the same time...
A potential invasion, right? I think I saw some supposedly top secret white papers a couple years ago saying, yeah, there's a plan that goes all the way to 2050 about this so-called invasion. It sounds like it could be a soft invasion, you know. And shout out to the pilots, to one of my students, Mountain, who literally is a squadron teacher of some of these folks, Taiwanese military that fly the F-14s.
Time pledging to deepen military exchanges with Washington. Beijing said Taipei's efforts to cooperate with other nations were doomed to fail.
The complete reunification of China is unstoppable, and relying on foreign forces to seek independence a dead end.
Chinese minister talking.
You're gambling with World War III.
All this has taken on greater urgency since the return of US President Donald Trump to the White House. For some in Taiwan, his approach to Ukraine, including blaming Kyiv for the war with Russia, is a troubling omen for how he...
There's Taipei 101, the landmark. Used to be the tallest building in America. I mean, in the world.
Might deal with Taipei.
When it comes to Taiwan security, there's a very important principle. That is, we must help ourselves before others can help us. Taiwan must bear the most responsibility for its own security.
Right, because if there wasn't an invasion, it could be days before Japanese or Korean or Filipino or American get in the fight. Who's to say America would even nowadays?
Trump has said Chinese leader Xi Jinping will visit the US in the not-too-distant future.
This epic, this building.
Trump has said Chinese
imagine
leader
dropping
Xi Jinping
acid out here.
will
Or just sitting there, bro. I'd be lightweight smoking a J, then going to this meeting right here.
visit the US
Very heavy, huh?
in the not-too-distant future. But despite overtures between Washington and Beijing, tensions over Taiwan look no closer to a peaceful resolution.
And let's cross straight over to our correspondent, James Chater in Taipei, who filed that report. James, Taiwan says China could launch a military invasion of the island in 2027. That's just 2 years from now. This is the first time Taiwan apparently has publicly stated a date for a possible invasion. How did it come up with that date?
Well, it's very important to first point out that this date is in no way a confirmation of an expectation. This is a date that is often discussed in policy circles and defense.
Hey, don't get your panties in a bunch, guys. We're going to be okay. But it's definitely on our radar.
Circles in Washington, because that's a date that it's believed...
I appreciate y'all, like, you know, being concerned about yours truly.
Within U.S. intelligence that Xi Jinping has ordered the Chinese military to be able to launch an invasion of Taiwan. Not necessarily that it will be making an invasion on that date, but that it could be able to make that invasion on that date. In Taiwan, this has always been a bit more of a cagey issue. Taiwanese Defense Ministry officials have always been a bit more reluctant to make clear dates or stipulate clear dates of when that eventuality might happen. And that's why the date emerging in this document about upcoming annual military drills did arouse attention. Taiwan's Defense Ministry hasn't explained clearly why they've stipulated this date, but observers looking at the situation think that this could be an effort to focus the military's attention on the threat posed by China, as well as the broader public, given this recent uptick in military tensions and the increasing intensity of Chinese intimidation around Taiwan. Not to mention, of course, that broader geopolitical...
intimidation, tens of planes that fly over the border of Taiwan, in terms of, over the water, the Taiwan Strait and around the island, and that provoke the Taiwanese Air Force. They have to scramble, which takes money for gas and time, and stress on the planes and the drivers and the support staffs. Yeah, man, it's like they're trying to maybe play the long game, trying to tire them out.
Environments where the US, Taiwan's chief guarantor of security, although it hasn't stated explicitly it would do so, is actively signaling its partners to do more for its own defense too.
Well, this is all happening as U.S. foreign policy is being transformed under the new Trump administration.
Yeah, you got to pay. You got to pay. President Trump was like, yeah, you got to pay. But supposedly we have this shield of silicone shield around Taiwan. Well, the silicon shield, the silicon microchips are a reason why China probably doesn't more aggressively pursue Taiwan, right? But with that said, supposedly there's going to be Taiwanese chip manufacturer factories in America.
How is that impacting relations between China and Taiwan, James?
Well, the US position vis-a-vis Taiwan and China is absolutely critical. The implicit guarantee that the US could come to Taiwan's defense if it was attacked by China really is the linchpin of this delicate balance of power that has existed across the Taiwan Straits for so many decades now. And that's why any indication that there would be a weakening of that commitment, that implicit commitment, is really looked on with concern here in Taiwan. And that's why, of course, the situation in Europe, the weakening of support for Ukraine in Washington has really caused a certain degree of alarm in Taipei as well. Of course, one other area that really Taiwan is looking at very closely is the semiconductor industry. Remember, of course, Taiwan produces 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors, the engines of almost all modern electronics. And recently what we saw was TSMC, the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company, the key company in this industry, announcing a $100 billion investment in the US in a press conference with Trump.
Billion is a lot of money.
Some people in Taiwan very concerned that this means a weakening of the so-called silicon shield, this idea that the advanced semiconductor industry would deter China from making an attack on Taiwan. But the question really going forward, of course, is also looking at the composition of the Trump administration and who is really going to have the ear of Donald Trump when it comes to this particular issue. Who within the administration or even Taiwanese officials is going to be able to explain the strategic value of Taiwan to the United States, especially as we know this administration looks at foreign policy through such a transactional lens.
Sure, like what do we get? The United States is saying, what do we get if we put our nose on the line, put young men and women bodies on the front line? Here's what's gonna happen. It's not gonna be a war in the conventional way between Taiwan and mainland China, TCP. It's gonna be a soft takeover. Most likely, Taiwan's gonna have to talk to mainland China about what's going on, about how they could maybe be like a special autonomy zone or territory while China's, in control. You've seen similar things happen in Macau and Hong Kong, but I don't think the people of Taiwan are going to go for that, man. That's like in America saying like, okay, you're just going to give it up to the Soviets. No, you're not. Yeah, you're going to fight. Yeah. And then having those, and then in terms of having those semiconductor factories in America, there's a special culture that was created in terms of the silicon microchips, that were made in Taiwan, right? You can't just literally throw money and build a factory in America and think you're going to get the same success. Same success. The ecosystem of Taiwan birthed TMMC, semiconductor company, right? The CEO and founder of that company made his name in America in terms of he went to school there and then he worked for some companies, but because of racism or bigotry in America, he moved that shit to Taiwan and started his company, which is one of the most powerful companies in the world now. You know, so I don't know if they're going to be in the United States going to be able to replicate that ecosystem that was produced here in Taiwan. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, please do. Yeah, please do. Come up. We got a. Well, we got a. Yeah, we got a little bit more time left. I was gonna. Yeah, I was probably gonna end this segment, strangeness with Taiwan and v China versus China, and talk about filthy rich diners. The filthy rich. How a lot of us can't even fathom living. Understand what some of the stuff they do, because you're not filthy rich, huh? But let me see. What's going on, Lady Luck? How's it going? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, NPC. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It was a relaxing Sunday
Yes, it is.
afternoon. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
you got it
is.
started. You got it started over there in
Australia?
Australia. Yeah.
Yep. Nearly 2 o'clock in the afternoon
Yeah.
on
So how was
Sunday.
your time in China? What did you think? How long were you there and where did you go?
I was there for about a week or so. Went to see some of the islands, caught the underground train across the. I was staying on Hong Kong Island, and I've caught the underground train across to the mainland and had a look at mainland China. Went out
Yeah.
to the new territories and had a look. But yeah, I certainly don't like the idea of China trying to take over Taiwan. I'm thinking, has that got to do with what, like you said, what Taiwan produces to the world?
Yeah. What do they offer? What makes them valuable?
Yes,
You know, in terms of
and
that.
having control of that on a
Yeah.
global scale.
Right.
Yep.
They call it this silicon shield right now on Taiwan.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
it stays that way.
Yeah, because the chips are great. I mean, it's in the computers and the microphones we're talking into right now, those semiconductors. However, like what I mentioned about the sheer beauty of Taiwan, the whole world's beautiful, but I'm here in Taiwan, so this is what I see. It's so beautiful. The mountains, the rainforest, the forests, the beaches, and even dare I say, even though the cities aren't that aesthetically pleasing compared to places like Europe and stuff, like they have a feel to them that like it's very cozy, well to say, yeah.
Yes.
And it's
Yep.
cool. It's cool, man. And like I said, the food is delicious. Um, and the people are very welcoming and they're cool. They seem genuine, from
Yeah,
young to
well,
old.
yeah, the people in China were very welcoming. A lot of people, more people spoke English than I thought. But
Yeah,
I'm thinking that Taiwan and the smaller Asian countries, they offer something different again
yeah,
in the way of
yeah.
the people, the culture, the lifestyle.
hmm
And
I think,
I don't think that should be, taken over by a country like China. That would be a real shame.
yeah, because you see what they did to their own people during the
Yes,
so-called cultural revolution, right?
yes,
This is why the people came here, and the religion, for example, spirituality was sucked out of China and replaced with a total allegiance and worship of the Communist Party. right?
Absolutely.
And then the Taoism and the Buddhism and the just local folk religions came here to Taiwan and merged into something so unique that's very interesting to watch. How people deal with their religion and spirituality here. It's not like heavy-handed like America or maybe some other places in the West where you know too. However,
Yes.
it's cool. You know, it's pretty chill, and it's definitely infused in daily life. You'll see people with their ancestor altars. You know, that's the Taoism there, and
Yes.
in reverence with the nature. You know, Taoism in terms of like learning, watching, observing nature, and how they
Yeah,
use their lunar calendar and stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
it's
So
cool
yeah, it
stuff.
would be a great shame to lose all of that to China.
Yeah.
Like I said, I enjoyed my time there and all that, but
Mhm.
I fully understand that smaller countries, and from what my brother said, who went to Taiwan,
Yeah.
their culture is unique and it's a great culture, very welcoming, very nice people,
Hmm.
and just their beliefs are solid. You know,
Yeah. Well put, Lady Luck. Yeah.
yeah, they're just solid. But
Yeah.
countries like China, it's based on political things and
Hmm.
that influences it, and it's not as free as
Right.
yeah, as Taiwan.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like when you've seen so much already as you know living here in Taiwan as a resident here, and I'm sure people who grew up here. It's like, can you imagine like being restricted?
Yeah,
You know?
no, no, I couldn't.
Uh, yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
disastrous for the Taiwanese people.
Yeah. And there's this what's his name ex prime minister of Singapore, I think he is, or either a prime minister or a minister in the government that's going around giving these speeches about what he thinks about how Taiwan should handle it. And I mean, like he's ethnic Chinese, and so he feels like he was saying like he feels he's not Taiwanese, but he feels very emotional about the situation because because in the end the Taiwan the Hong Chinese and the Taiwanese Chinese are the same Chinese here in Taiwan. You know, it's the
Yeah,
same. It's just they're under different, not just they're under different, political philosophies. Right?
yes,
I would
different.
even say that the Taiwanese, even though they have the mostly Han Chinese, there's been studies out there saying that 70% of the people are mixed with Aboriginal people here. You know, they have some type of Aboriginal because we have Aboriginals here in Taiwan too, and
Yes,
and not only that, but also the Dutch influences. I saw a woman yesterday. My son had sports day, which is like a big event in Asia, like where the schools they like it's like their school spirit day where they have like like races and competitions against the classes and stuff, right?
yes,
School
yes.
pride. And I saw this woman, and she looked like a straight like European woman, but she was definitely Taiwanese. And I think that's that Dutch influence. So it's a beautiful mix here.
Well,
Yeah.
Australia has that too because we had a Dutchman called Van Diemen
Hmm.
discover like he landed in Australia,
Yeah.
and they landed here and they ended up mixing with the Aboriginal people. So
Yeah.
that's how you will get today. You will still get blonde-haired, blue-eyed, fair-skinned Aboriginals.
Hmm.
That's where it comes from, the Dutch settlers.
Ah, okay.
Yep,
Okay. Yeah, because those Dutch went everywhere with their training companies, huh?
they did. They did.
Yeah.
But many people don't understand how you get blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aboriginals nowadays still.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Those recessive genes, huh?
yep,
That came out. They came out, yeah.
yep.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen
so
that
the Dutch,
before too. I've seen that. Yeah, I have seen those people like that. Yeah.
yep,
You know, it's funny. We got a good we got a good look at Australia from a music point of view, and this even in the slice of life, day-to-day life in the '80s, because there were so many righteous, like cool Australian bands, huh?
Yes, there
In
was.
figures, right? Yeah,
Yes, there
that
was.
we were exposed to that, and like even some people who weren't even Australian, but maybe just British, that actually filmed videos there, like David Bowie and stuff.
Yes, he did.
With the people there, with the people. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's very
Yeah,
interesting.
he filmed a song
Let's
called
dance, right?
Let's
I love
Dance
that.
up
That's my
on the
theme song.
Yep, it's up on the
Yeah.
northern, in a small town in northern New South Wales, which is on the
Uh-huh.
right-hand side, the east coast. But he went into a pub up there and filmed that up there with some local people, including some Indigenous people.
Right. I think he followed the a couple, right? I don't know if they were brother and sister or like boyfriend and husband and wife, but they were definitely a couple, and there was like their introduction to the city. And they had a credit
Yeah,
card and stuff. And the story and the narrative of the video. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
absolutely. But in Australia, you'll see a lot of Indigenous people that are in the cities, and they pick up Western, like our bad habits, like
Right.
drinking and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. But the further you go out, the less you see of that.
Yeah.
It becomes more traditional tribal stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, even tribal punishment is still around today.
Mm. Pretty severe,
Yep.
some of those punishments.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. It is
Yes, it
sad
is.
to say, like some of these places that were colonized, how the indigenous people on the so-called reservations in their allotted land that they're given, that like there's
Yes,
a lot, some of the biggest poverty and drug
absolutely.
abuse and crime, and yeah, it's almost
Hmm.
like either subconsciously or consciously, like their genetics is like ashamed or just feels defeated, huh?
I
Of
think so. I think there's a certain sense of feeling defeated.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
But I mean, hopefully, I'm really hoping that China doesn't do that to Taiwan because, like I
hmm
said, it will lose a lot of
yeah,
its culture and, yeah.
yeah. It would, man, because this was like the safe place, and I think they know that too. Lady Luck. I want to have the knowing that, like, even though yes, on paper and also in reality, they've done some atrocities, the CCP, but like in the end, there's some rationality there that like we can't have without war. It's not good for Taiwanese or Chinese or even the world, the region, or even the world, man. It's
No, I
not
mean, I
good.
know
No,
a
no
lot of
war is
people.
good, but come on, bro. This is be nasty here. Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's, people say there's a lot of money in war
Mhm.
and, it's profitable, but I can't, like, put my seal on it to say it's
Yeah.
okay because of this.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
winners in my books. There's never
hmm
any winners.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's not. Oh, and it's interesting. Like I take my YouTube algorithm as a metric for where, like, my journal, like where I'm at, my history, right? In the last month, I have to say, Lady Luck, I was ingesting a lot of war narratives of these special forces people, like Navy SEALs and special forces, and they were telling their stories of war and fighting in different places, mostly in the Middle East and Africa, and and a lot of them were traumatized, of course, right? But then there was a couple that like seemed to love it. It was just like,
Mm,
wow. It's like the guy was owning it. I get it. He was owning it, but it's like, damn, bro, this to hear someone talk about it like that. It's like, are you lying or what? Because I can't. It's hard to fathom that someone would be like that. But then again, I don't know how it is to be in a official war zone. I've been in neighborhoods that seem like it, but I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, it is hard to fathom. But
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about you hear the Jock Talcott? Who's a friend to this broadcast that his main thing is top priority. He says is to get rid of war, and when he says that, a lot of people like look at him crazy, bro. And I can understand because it sounds very ambitious, right? But
Yes, it does.
yeah. But
I don't think
who
we'll
wouldn't
ever.
want that though, huh?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's just there's many reasons for it, for why people are doing it. I mean, I've spoken to people about the situation in the Ukraine, and they've said they've come up with all these theories about why Russia wants Ukraine, and I've said to them maybe it boils down to something very simple. If Russia have Ukraine, their border goes right down to the sea, to the and so if any countries try to invade them, that it's going to take a lot for them to get to Moscow.
Right. It's a buffer.
It's a buffer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yep. And
Good point.
I know. Yep. It's a buffer, and I know I've met somebody who escaped the Russian Revolution of 1915, and she
Wow.
went. Yep, she went to Greece and then come to Australia. But yeah, she was afraid, obviously, for her life and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was interesting, sitting and talking down to her in her elderly years about what life was like there
Yeah.
before she left and how it changed.
Yeah. She had the bread lines and everything. Experienced that in extreme. I won't even call it censorship. Well, worse. It seems like there's like spies, like people telling on each other. And
Absolutely.
Know who to trust. Real
Exactly.
1984. Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, people have had theories about why Russia keeps, wants Ukraine, and I've said that maybe it's something simple, like it's a buffer.
I think that's part of it. That's a big part of it. Logistics.
Yeah.
And it keeps it. Go ahead.
And they, the breadbasket it's a breadbasket of Europe. So there's a food supply, control of the food supply to Europe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Food and that, yeah.
Yep.
And also too, if not only do you get the borders to the seas, but also you take away the option of NATO putting missiles or military on that up next to your border. You know what I mean? Right.
That's
closer
right.
to Moscow.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It stops anyone from getting in there, from putting things right on the sites of Moscow, and yeah.
And this is why, like, the logical thing about it, when I first started researching that area, looking at the area, I was like, it makes sense from Putin's point of view, just with that, how he doesn't want it, so close to his border already, right? Poland's already close enough, right? So, but it is similar to Xi Jinping and the CCP in Taiwan in a sense that I think General MacArthur and the admiral in the Pacific in World War II, he said Taiwan's basically an aircraft carrier in the water, the island of it. It's very in a great location for staging an assault on mainland China, right there. So it makes sense how China
it's in a perfect spot.
It is, right? It doesn't want to have anything to do. The United States have anything to do with with Taiwan, especially military.
Absolutely. So that's why that could be why they want Taiwan, so people don't use it as a staging.
But then the thing is, they can use it as a staging against Japan, and Korea, and the Philippines, and Australia.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
a whole lot of it.
It's a lot of. Remember that game, Risk, back in the day? Risk.
Yes, I do. Yes.
It's like real life.
Absolutely.
My wife and I were watching this famous vlogger, and he was at one of these war institutes in Virginia where they do these war games, right? Would they have the big map on the floor, and they have the
Mm-hmm.
pieces, and they play it like they do scenarios, which is good because if you work out some of these scenarios, uh, you kind of like save yourself from making like a rash decision, you know?
Yeah.
And but with that said, we're watching these guys do it, play the game. We're like, yeah, these guys have the luxury to do it, but literally on the map right there, that's where we live. I'm looking at
Yeah.
the thing. I'm like, Jesus, it must be like a nice luxury to play games like that, and But yeah. But the thing is, Lady Luck, we just gotta live our life too. It's good to be prepared and all that stuff, and know contingency plans.
It is.
But we live our life here. It's been like this since 1949. It's just with social media and the 24-hour news cycle just so quick now that like we're bombarded with kind of like stress if you listen to it all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think with these countries, like with Russia and like with China, it's about strategy.
Uh-huh.
And that's why they do their invasions and all of that. It's about
War
protecting
games.
themselves. Yep.
Yeah.
About
Kind of like
self-preservation.
self-preservation, yeah. And it's like a way to threaten. Because they did when Nancy Pelosi came over here, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they literally surrounded the island. That's China. And yeah, and the power went out even. They said it was like some glitch or something with the power plant, but I think something else was happening. Because that's another thing that might happen, like some type of power shutout, like
Disruption. Yep.
disruption or internet thing, yeah. Which is
Yep.
bad enough nowadays if the internet goes out, the way we're all plugged in, huh? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep. But I mean, there's even like apparently there's Russian ships off English shores.
Uh-huh. Right.
So it's all happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The submarines are down there too by Alaska. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I still have faith in the fact that I don't think anybody's stupid enough to push the button and go for it. I don't think.
I'd like to think
You like to think
not.
so, huh?
No. Yeah, I'd like to think not, that they wouldn't know.
Yeah. This is why
Absolutely.
this is why we have these stories like this whole thing about mermaids and stuff came in my consciousness talking about the sea and the subconscious and whatnot. Because there's these I guess they're like I don't know, I have TikTok anymore, but like TikTok short stories about elites eating mermaids. Have you heard about that?
No?
Yeah. So-called elite
Wow.
eating. Yeah. Let me show you a quick video real quick. Show the people. They're having mermaid eating parties, supposedly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see this.
So that depends if you believe in mermaids.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say no, not really. No, I'll just say no, yeah. But hey, if they are there, hey, they're there. Cool. This is why I was showing the Bible and all that, just to let people know that, yeah, even though we see the movie Little Mermaid and all that, there's literally in the Bible talking about these things for some of those folks who are really, all about their Bible and whatnot.
And he explains to him that Captain Burgess has a very
go.
specific clientele over certain types of fish that they will get a mega bonus. Okay. Well,
This lady's talking about this dude, Landon, that she knows became a commercial fisherman. And one of the fishing boats he was going on, they fish for, tuna or whatever the hell they fish for. But the real money was they hunt mermaids. And then they sell the mermaids that are alive to these so-called elites around the world. This is a story. I mean, it's fun for story time and whatnot, but let me hear what you have to say about this.
Well, after he finishes doing all that and they go and they eat dinner and they're getting ready to push out or whatever,
There's a new conspiracy theory making the rounds on TikTok, and it goes something like this. The world's richest elites apparently gather for dinner parties where they feast on mermaids. As if someone's serving up Ariel from Disney like she's on a sushi platter. It all kicked off when a TikToker started spinning a tale about an ex-con fisherman who supposedly reeled in these half-fish creatures for wealthy clients somewhere in Hollywood's upper echelons. Since then, the story has gone viral, prompting half the internet to laugh it off and the other half to wonder if these people might actually be onto something.
They finally get the mer woman, whatever you want to call it, siren, over in there, and she is thrashing.
As one user put it, I don't know if it's a case of group psychosis or something else, but it feels like half the people on this app will believe anything, even if you tell them not to. But do we really have to say out loud that mermaids don't exist outside of fairy tales and maybe the occasional Disney movie? It's kind of like imagining someone out there is secretly chowing down on dragon meat. Fascinating for a moment, sure, but probably not happening. Nevertheless, the theory exploded precisely because the TikToker behind it claimed that prominent Hollywood figures attend these so-called mermaid-eating parties, calling the mermaid flesh some rare delicacy. The internet can't resist mocking anything that conjures up images of celebrities or rich folks doing outlandish stuff behind closed doors. Some watchers are rolling their eyes, viewing it as little more than a campfire ghost story. Others are entertaining the idea for its comedic horror factor, complete with proof from shaky anecdotes, conspiratorial text overlays, and videos of people reading emails from alleged insiders. In the end, most of this is just the internet being the internet, half joking, half speculating about bizarre tales, and fully aware.
Yeah, I think people are just bored. Let me show. It sounds absurd, right? Is it just me?
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you got a mermaid's half human, half fish.
Yeah.
So what does that make the consumption of a mermaid?
Oh wow, that's true. That's like a damn cannibalism. Right?
We won't say that word. We'll say cannibalism for YouTube. We love you, YouTube, and hit the like everyone in the chat.
Yeah.
Hit the like everyone in the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, Gracie?
But yeah, wouldn't it make it that?
Yeah, I think it would be, right? It's a humanoid creature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is what... Go ahead.
I don't know. Like they said, it could be
maybe you'll change your
psychosis.
mind when you hear this story right here, Lady Luck. Well, this is the story. Listen to this story. At best, it's a story we can gain some entertainment, or like I like to do, I like to find the symbols and see how it relates to the consciousness and all that.
To reveal themselves, and I'm going to prove it to you as we get through the presentation. But first,
a good channel, BDL 1040. He was playing this.
We must start out with this video. This is one of those videos you want to share this video.
But he takes it super seriously. Well, that teach his own, right?
To people who have this, especially if you're connected to people and friends and family members who think everything is a conspiracy theory, show them this video, right? Because I got all the receipts.
Yeah, because they're gonna love this type of shit. They make the real conspiracy they shit on it because they believe every single one. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gonna back up everything that this woman is basically saying. That she came across a mermaid story.
Now listen, Chad, this is
so with
a
that
wild
being said,
story.
ladies and gentlemen, we finna get straight to it.
I'm just gonna let it play for a sec.
Somebody told me the coolest story about a company that catches big fish, if you can call them that. They kind of feel like us a little bit, but they do it for a living. So this guy named Landon, he's like 28 years old. He's living with his parents. He's fresh out of prison. He bounces back and forth from job to job. And finally, his parents put him out on his ass. They're like, look, you need to go call your cousin. He has a fishing charter. Get in touch with him and see if you can't go to work for your cousin, Travis. He gets in touch with Travis. Landon leaves the Midwest and goes to the East Coast to this little fishing community. It's all about fishing charters. This is like their main means of income in this community. Well, he gets out there He stays a couple of days, and they're getting ready to go back out, and then he finds out it's not his cousin's fishing charter anymore. He lost his fishing charter. So he meets up with a couple of guys. We're just going to use his picture as an example. He meets up with the crew, and this other guy, which they call Captain Burgess, we're going to call him Captain Burgess, was running this charter. And he was like, wait a minute, dude, this is not what you told me. You know, you didn't tell me up until now that this was not your crew. So Landon's like, okay, fuck it, let's just go ahead and do it. Work's work, right? Especially when you're a felon. So they get out to this boat, and it's not like a little bitty dingy boat or anything like that, but it's not a huge boat. It's like a medium size, okay? And Travis is showing Landon all around the boat, and they walk into this room. They had left the kitchen area, and he showed him where the bunks were and everything else. Well, they walked through to get to the bunks through a room that had some tanks in it, okay? But these weren't normal at all. It was kind of like this, but it had a bluish fluid in it, okay? And he said that it had wheels on it, and there were these little things that snapped down.
Now it seems weird that didn't she say this guy Landon came out of prison and he got this job?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You would think they do some background check, right? If Lady Luck, if we're dealing with so-called elites and whatnot.
Yes. Yes, and you know that lends to also why was he there in the first place? Is there a credibility issue?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Lady Luck. I haven't said it to you on this channel. That was a beautiful interview you did with Mel. It was one of the best interviews all year. That was great.
Thank you.
Shout out to you. Yeah, very very professional and interesting. Yeah, I like how you stood on. You stayed on target. Like they say in Star Wars. You stayed on target.
It's me. I'm about business. I stand on business.
You stand on business, Lady Luck. What are you?
Yep.
Are you your son? Are you like a Capricorn or Earth sign or something? Viola?
No, I'm a fire sign.
Oh, okay. Aries,
Yep.
Sag.
Yes.
Aries.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My wife, April 9th. Yeah. Very cool.
Right.
That's why we vibe. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yes.
Well done, Lady
Definitely.
Luck. So you can probably pick up the bullshit on this story. Let's have a go on it.
Under the ground to hold it in place, but you could.
The bluish fluid that she's basically talking about is a receptor tank that has biosludge in it that basically dematerializes the anatomy of the mermaids. So I had to give you that clarification as we get through the story.
But you could also unsnap them and you could wheel it around, kind of like this color. So out of curiosity, he's like, Travis, what are those for? And he was like, oh, those are for the big payday. Okay, those are from when we get big bonus. That's big bonus time. And he explains to him that Captain Burgess has a very specific clientele over certain types of fish that they will get a mega bonus. Okay. Well, after he finishes doing all that and they go and they eat dinner and they're getting ready to push out or whatever, Captain Burgess approaches him and wants him to sign a piece of paper. And he said that on this piece of paper, it basically states that anything that you see out here, you're not to come back and talk about it. Basically like a little NDA. He said the first 2 days they were out there, it was just regular fish. Well,
that worked well.
It was a stormy night and they were...
What was that, Lady Luck?
I said that worked well, signing the NDA.
Yeah. It's blabbing to this woman. Oh, God.
Gonna head back in because it was gonna be really bad. And Captain Burgess had all this equipment in his office and everything else, you know. And he was like, no, we're not going back in. We got something big. It's all hands on deck. You know what I mean? They're all outside. It's pouring rain. It's storming. And they bring the net up. Okay. They bring this net that had been...
I'm wondering if the storm has anything to do with the mermaid. A merman, like they bring the storm with them or something.
Who knows?
Down at the bottom all day that day, up. And he said what he saw inside was like nothing he had ever seen before, probably ever will again if he ever lives to tell the story again. He said that it was like a pasty, whitish green skin, okay? and the fin, okay, from like the hip bone down, like the hip bones were huge, but from there down, it was just like
Big
the body of a fish. And he said that it was like bright greenish white silvery scales and very, very slimy and like greenish black hair. And
why slimy? Are there certain fish that are slimy that you know of, Lady Luck?
Not that I know of,
I
but
don't know of, yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's that hybrid creature has the slime. Whenever I look at this lady, it reminds me of a coworker I had named Angie. It's so funny.
Is that
seeing
good
her
or bad?
talk. Yeah, that's good. I love Angie. She's great. Yeah.
Yep.
But maybe that's why I listened, because I'm like, other than her southern accent, which Angie doesn't have a southern accent, but like, maybe that's why I kind of gave her the benefit of the doubt to at least listen to it. Because normally I don't really listen to stuff like this. But it was everywhere on my, not just my algorithm, but other people that I talked to. They were like, "Hey, have you heard about this?" Yeah.
Wasn't pretty. But this one in particular wasn't putting up very much of a fight. And it spoke. He said that he couldn't understand what language it was speaking in, but it felt like it was begging for its life. So Burgess is screaming, get the tank, get the tank. They get it rolled out there.
That's very, very horrible. That's terrifying. Like, it's one thing when you hear like a dog crying or something being injured or an animal, making a noise, but a human
fluid in it sloshing all over the place. They get her in there and she sinks to the bottom and she's just pleading for her life.
That's
underwater, pleading for her life. And he's like, I did not sign up for this. What the fuck is going on? And so his cousin,
he did, right?
He
He
asked
signed
his
the
cousin
NDA.
that night, and he's like, don't make a big deal out of this right now. Don't do it.
I did not sign up for that. That's a lie right there.
Oh.
Because when you sign one of those things, you're basically signing up for anything goes, right? Even if they don't tell you. You can't.
Well, that's usually what happens when they make you sign an NDA. It's because there's something else.
Yeah, Diddy's not gonna go, I'm gonna have this party where we torture these people with oil and then pour oil on. No, they're not gonna tell you that. They're just saying,
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. Allegedly,
Yes.
Thank you. Keeping us on time. Lady Luck, the sergeant of arms in our sector.
They're trying to keep you out of trouble.
Appreciate it. I'm so close to being monetized too.
Something really sinister is afoot and he doesn't even realize it. They end up pushing off. Okay, the storm starts to calm down or whatever. And they ended up going to port and they went to a different warehouse and they took this siren to a different warehouse and it was set up like a restaurant. Come to find out these.
So they're not only the hunters, but they're literally the distributors too, huh?
Yeah.
In the way. Dang. They can't just leave it at like the story. Like we caught the thing, we took it to this, to the port, and that was that. No, they went to the restaurant. Okay.
And is that usual? Is that usual for fishermen to take it like directly into the restaurant like that?
No, Lady Luck, not at all.
That's what
Not
makes
at
me
all.
go, this isn't, yeah.
The only way I would think that would work would be if, like when we have these little seafood restaurants here in Taiwan, but those are like mom and pop places and stuff,
Yes.
But, come on, this is ridiculous. These are so-called elites.
Till he had sonar machines and everything to track these things down. Okay, like stuff that you would not even believe if you saw it.
Yeah, we don't believe.
And they were all there. The crew was
I don't mean
there
to
and
be
everything
mean, but-
else. And these
What's up, Ozzy? I
people,
didn't see Ozzy in
okay,
the chat.
that had him go and catch this thing. And
What's
they
going on?
say it's like really common among the wealthy.
Wheels.
And
Thanks for
they
sharing the link, Lady Luck.
put it on a gurney.
You're welcome.
They pushed it out. And they all
I
had
want a
their
mermaid
knives
finder
and
for Christmas
forks
now in
and everything
PC.
else. It was set up like hibachi,
What is that,
sort
Lady
of.
Luck?
I want a mermaid finder for Christmas.
How about this? I get Ruck to dress up like a mermaid for you. Merman, yeah.
Yep.
A mermaid finder. Okay. But
there is
Lady Luck,
something
you have to have
fishy
enough
here.
space. What's
That's
that?
true. God,
Uh,
Godheart says something fishy here. I think so too.
I like that.
For sure.
Godheart's so quick. Very
Yeah.
quick-witted.
It's a really long story, and I'm trying to shorten it down. But to make a long story short, they ended up going back out one more time.
Oh, good.
And he's struggling with himself. And he said he didn't know if he could ever watch or see that thing scream like that again, because you know what they did with it, right? And he said that he was really, really struggling with his humanity, but he took the next job because it paid so well. He was like, it paid so well. So they ended up not seeing any on the next 4 or 5 trips out. And he was like, thank God that's over. Well, they ended up running into another one, but this one was a fighter. And it didn't look the same, okay? Like this one had a blackish tone skin with white colored hair.
Now, let me interject. Now, I also got a video that backs up the edification and the synopsis that she's basically, displaying.
Now, this is give you context on Bidel's channel. A lot of it's quote black centered, new agey, I guess.
Yes.
Where, cause they have the Palladians, like the white, Nordic looking people. You've heard those stories, maybe. Well, he seems to be focused on the black extraterrestrials or whatnot. So that's why I think he got a little excited when she mentioned the darker mermaid.
In this video, she said it was basically black. And I have a video of a guy who was doing studies, and he was connected to some type of KGB or CIA organization, and he came across these black mermaids, and he said they were
which is it, CIA or KGB?
To be about 7 feet tall and things of that nature. And I have a video that basically demonstrates that synopsis. So after this video, I'm gonna show you that video.
But that's the thing. I like a lot of this. It's a very interesting channel. His channel, stuff he talks about. But then he's like these people that we talked about earlier about these conspiracy truthers that believe everything and they hodgepodge things together. He just said there was a KGB dude insider that said there was a 7 foot tall mermaid. And that's not what the guy said. I've seen the video. The guy said there was 7 foot tall humanoid. But because he's talking about mermaids, he
added that.
Yeah, he said it all quick. 'Cause a lot of times people talk quick because they want to maybe skirt past you, these little details, so you'll ride along with them in the story.
Humanoid's different to a half human, half fish.
Right. Yeah. They call that Crimea, when you're merging animals together. Yeah.
Yes.
Hair, whitish green colored hair. He was like, it was super duper weird, but these things do actually exist. But if you want to hear more about it, because he told me 3 of them, he only experienced 3 times, and that he basically was in fear for his life because of the clientele. And he's like, I will never reveal who they are. He was like, but they're pretty high up and people do know who they are. Somebody told me a story about a company that catches really big fish, but they're not fish, okay? If you haven't seen my first Mermaid and Sirens video that I made the other day, it's the first pinned video on my page, or you're not going to understand this video at all.
She probably was loving the. I don't blame her. She loved. Everybody likes to be acknowledged. A lot of people like to be acknowledged. So
yeah, but to be acknowledged with integrity and all of that's different to being acknowledged for the wrong reasons.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So, like I said, they went back out on the water. They'd been out 5 or 6 more times and hadn't seen anything until finally they did. But this time it looked different. And this one was a fighter. Now, I think it's fair to say that, they fish normal fish, okay, because they have to have their cover up, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they have all of these fancy devices in Captain Burgess's office, or whatever you want to call it, his cabin, to where he actually has equipment to track these sirens down. And like I said before in the video, he has a very specific clientele, and each one of them have, different things they are doing. The first one was a meal. But anyway, So they get the second one, they get the tank out there, they finally get her in it because she has got nails, you know what I mean? And she scratches one of the guys named Luke. We're going to call him Luke.
Okay.
They finally get the mer woman, whatever you want to call it, siren, over in there, and she is thrashing. Like, she is not having it. The first one was docile. This one is not going. Now, in the process, like I said, she scratched the guy named Luke, and it was pretty deep. He's being attended to, whatever, off to the side. They're trying to get her to go all the way in so they can lock it down. And they...
Now, if I was talking to her, and if I was her talking to this guy Landon, to this telling her the story, I would have probably wanted to know, okay, how do you exactly deal with it? How do you get it into the tank? You know, it's just like, oh, they fished one up, and now it's in the tank. You know, It's like the nuances and the minutia is not given.
No, and
it's important.
I wonder if somebody has actually sat her down and asked her straightforward questions.
There has to be someone. I'm sure she has some type of family or something. Somebody.
If anybody
level-headed.
Yes. I wonder if somebody on YouTube has sat her down and actually asked her pertinent questions. That'd be interesting interview.
Right. That would be. I think you would be a good person to ask. Let me try to get her. Yeah, look at lady, look at you down.
No.
Come on.
No, I don't want
That'd be perfect.
mermaid. No.
But you do it. You're good at it because like you don't come across bias. You're just like strictly the facts, like Dragnet. Just the facts.
Yeah, Dragnet. That's a good description. But yeah, this one I don't know if I could get through it, and
See, like you said, you're like, I'm trying to be nice right now.
Yeah.
You usually don't even talk like that. What you just said. You just hear me being nice. Not that you're not nice, but like, it's just funny. This lady's just a bit too much. Story's a bit too much. Yeah.
I think it might have been I'll use the word embellished.
Embellished, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hyperbola.
End up damaging her. I think he said that what happened was her hand was she was trying to claw her way out, and they slammed the lid, and when they did it, took them fingers off all the tips off.
All the tips, they chopped her fingers off.
Now, this very specific set of clientele that was going to purchase her, you know what I'm saying? They didn't want damaged materials. So they ended up having to find it.
But she also said that, real quick, I don't know if you noticed, she said that this guy named, was it Lucas? The siren scratched him.
Yes.
So,
I heard
you know, like from our horror movies, what happens sometimes when the monster does that to somebody, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't end up
I'm
good.
thinking,
well, even the animal, huh? Infection.
Exactly. I'm thinking, did he go to the ER and say, I've been scratched by a mermaid, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to lose my limb or
no
receipts?
It gets now those are very good questions to ask, like logical questions. But,
no
like,
receipts.
It gets really bad, the story. Well, why? It's so funny. I don't want to give it away. Hey, what's up, Sherelle? Good to see you. Yeah. We had some heavy stuff going on, talking about like mermaids in the Bible earlier, and also like some Taiwan geopolitical stuff that Lady Luck was building with us. And now and this is kind of like a lighthearted, huh? Would you say, Lady Luck?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I want to see receipts for that ER. I want to see receipts for that ER visit.
You want to see the receipts?
Yep.
Another buyer. Okay, Captain Burgess ended up having to find another buyer for a damaged one. And when I say she was a fighter, like they were having to do every hour checks on this tank that's in a very specific location on this boat. So each one of them would have to do a rotation. And they're going further off to an island to the new buyer or whatever that will accept a damaged siren. And so they're having to feed her. Now, don't ask me how they did it. He never actually said how they got the food to her, but they were feeding her. Well, Landon is already struggling with his humanity because of what happened to the last one, and it was a very docile one. And
they had to feed her. Okay, now here's the thing. Now, how long was these trips? Because if you have to feed something, then we're talking about days, right?
Yes.
Like,
This one.
What do they feed her?
That's right. She eating fish or she eating human food?
Right.
Amoeba from the bottom of the ocean?
Blobfish? Coral, yeah, coral.
Who
What do
knows?
they call that? Plankton?
Plankton, yep.
Is not. And he said that he had to go in there and feed her, and that one of the fingers had grown back. So they can self.
Now,
Oh.
I'm also
Come on, Wolverine now.
going to demonstrate on how the regeneration transformation system is also associated.
He's going to put his agenda in there about like how original people, black people, can have this power. So don't go and chop it off your fingers, chat. Testing this shit out.
Yeah, with the physiology.
Not our. This is not our. Not our idea.
Black people who was also connected to these black mermaids in the ocean. I'm going to demonstrate that as we get to the presentation as well.
Regenerate. So he tells his cousin Travis, he's like, look, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, dude, and he was like, this is not one of those gigs that you can just walk in and walk out.
Sherelle,
that's not going to happen.
More than welcome.
So this particular buyer ended up being a big time military person within some type of, I don't want to say military. I don't think it was military, but it's one of them things that even presidents don't know about. You know what I mean? Like a secret research island. And
like, do you ever watch that show Lost?
Yes.
That's
about Lost.
It's Lost, right? Oh, come to find out, Australia's a big pin in that. Yeah, our Australian brothers and sisters. That was a big, you know, because that's where they took off from, right? Oceania. Yeah.
That's it.
I love that show. I'm rewatching it with my wife right now. So much fun because she's never seen it before.
Yeah, a lot was.
Yeah.
And Burgess tells him when they get there that, hey, look, you know, we told you she was damaged, but one of the fingers has grown back. Okay, so at this point, they already knew that they were going to grow back. Okay, they already knew. So that means they've been researching on these things for a very long time. But he did say that he wasn't allowed to go back. But when the door opened, that he could see where Burgess and the buyer had walked back, that there were more than just sirens back there. There were cages with things that he had never seen before. He didn't even know how to put them into words.
Now, remember, you got to read Dr. Malachi York's book called...
that's his teacher, Dr. York, who's in prison actually right now. For some unspeakable X. You're jumping in to clean your car. I have a wedding. Yeah, for sure. Just happy you can listen. Good to have you. Weddings are fun. Yeah, weddings are super fun. Sometimes.
Arthur and Shambhala. When you break down the etymology of the word Shambhala, it means the scent of Allah. So Argartha is basically a subterranean kingdom that is basically connected to Hollow Earth. In Hollow Earth, you have these factions of deep underground military bunker systems that has a place called Nightmare Hall. And in Nightmare Hall, that's where they keep a great majority of these cryptids, or whatever you call an extraterrestrial entity. They have the ability to genetically modify by way of genetic mutation to create these entities, and they keep them in Nightmare Hall underground, right? So that's where the experimentation projects basically derive from.
He also stated that this is the longest time that he had ever been out with this particular.
That sounds kind of interesting.
It does.
They have like a Sasquatch and Mothman and all that type of stuff.
Oh, you wouldn't know.
Yeah. What do we got in Australia? Any myths about the creatures?
We
out in the bush.
Do. Yeah, we have the one of the bunyip, which is a mythical Australian creature that wanders around the bush. We have another one. I forget the name of it, but it's supposed to be a very tall, hairy creature that runs through the bush, much like a Sasquatch.
It's King Stephen? Just kidding. Sanity machine.
Yeah, I know King Stephen. I was going to say, what? Yeah, something like that.
I don't think he's tall, but he's probably hairy. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, but that's crazy. So there's probably definitely Aboriginal myths and stuff about that, huh?
Yes, there is. There's an Aboriginal myth of a giant serpent that went through the sky in the dream time before Europeans settled here. And apparently, if you see that serpent, it means that there's going to be unaliving.
Oh wow!
And even when Aboriginal people say that if they see that serpent, even today, they're absolutely in fear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Something to be said about that. Yeah. I'm fascinated with them and their dream time. Fascinating.
Yes,
So.
it's interesting. I've been to a couple of ceremonies that they have, but you have to get the sometimes the state government permission, other times the state government and the tribal elders permissions to attend the ceremony, and even then they put conditions on your attendance.
Right.
Yes, you got to be respectful of their culture, their tribe. You've got to do things like trying not to film or blur out faces.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't and later on that person passes away, they come back and ask you to blur out their face and write something on the front of the film saying that people in this film may not be still alive.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow, that's very serious protocol.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, even cultures like even things like not filming faces, standing back when you're filming.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, coming in like if it was a smoking ceremony, coming in and walking through the smoke in a circular motion with everyone to be protected before you do something. They do something. Yeah.
So that means that that the people, when you go to participate in something like that, you're conscious and you're immersed in it, which is what you're supposed to be. That's good. You're not just like willy-nilly, like on your phone or whatever, like, you know.
No.
Because it's very special to be able to be invited to a place like that.
It is, but like I said, you've got to go through a process, and sometimes it can involve a state government.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically have to give you permission to release the film after they've viewed it and scrutinised it, and it has to go through the tribal elders to get permission before you can release it.
Yeah. Do they have their own like police and stuff, government?
The indigenous people.
Yes.
They have tribal elders.
Okay.
And they carry out tribal law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in America they have that they call it the reservation, the land they're allotted, and they have their own police force and city council and like government and stuff.
Yeah, no. I mean, there is Aboriginal bodies in the government. Yeah, there is. There is Aboriginal rights people and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but they don't interfere with each tribe's laws and customs.
Yeah. Well,
as far as punishment goes.
Mm-hmm. The ones that I said like that, those are actually people who are in that tribe, that are the police and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not here. Yeah.
For crew. And that he was gone probably a month. And we'll get into what happened during that amount of time, but this is getting kind of long. The company that catches really big fish, only they're not fish. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, they're pinned to the top of my profile, or you won't understand this at all. So the second mermaid, she's a thrasher, and they take her to this facility that's on an island that clearly does research. One of the crew members had been scratched by this mermaid before they put her in the tank, and it cut the tips of her fingers off. And then Landon went back to later realize that one of them had grown back. Now, this isn't common amongst them. So, like with human beings, I would say that some of them have abilities that other ones don't. and this one could regenerate. So that's probably why this facility wanted this particular damaged one. So they get her to the facility, and like I said in the previous video, he wasn't allowed to go into the back with Captain Burgess and the new buyer, okay, who was clearly the head of this black op facility, okay? Definitely not government, but a little bit in deeper than the government would be, I would suggest. And he said when the door opened, there were creatures like you had never seen in cages all over the place. Okay. The guy that got scratched on board, something starts to happen to him within like just a few hours.
Oh, here we go.
He said it was like something straight out of Resident Evil, like something started growing out of his arm. He said it got him on the arm and the face for like a week. Remember when I told you they were gone for like a month?
Yeah.
And this is their longest time out. Like Luke has a wife and kids, family. You know, Travis has a girlfriend. All the crew members have someone significant at home, and this is the longest time that they've ever been out. 1 month.
What if she's Travis's girlfriend?
You're talking in the third person, you mean?
Right, yeah. But, well, that'd make her compromised, right? It'd be easy to track him down. Like, hey,
Exactly.
So Luke gets successfully treated or whatever, and he has to go back like every 3 months and pick up these injections.
Oh, come on. So this facility was already hard to find, right? Off the beaten path, you can say. And now he has to go back on his own accord.
They've got mermaid antidotes.
Yes, listen.
But at a cost.
Okay.
Landon described it as a
he has to pay a copay. She said at a cost. What the hell? They make him pay?
Successfully treated or whatever, and he has to go back like every 3 months and pick up these injections, but at a cost. Landon described it as the strangest looking EpiPen he's ever seen in his life.
EpiPen? That's for like asthma and stuff and allergic reaction. My son had to, because he had a walking pneumonia the last couple of weeks, and we had to go to emergency last week.
Oh no!
Yeah, he's doing much better, but he was bad, lady. Like it was so bad that he busted a blood vessel cough his eye. Yeah. But they gave him the steroid. I guess I forgot the full name, but Epi is like the shortened version of it.
The EpiPen.
EpiPen for those people who have like allergic reactions or asthmatic attack or something, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
So this guy's getting mermaid inoculations.
Yeah, mermaid antidotes. Okay. Yeah. Next time I go to the pharmacy, I'll ask if they got any mermaid antidotes.
It has to be an EpiPen form, not powdered form or liquid or pill capsule form. It has to be
well,
EpiPen.
they might have developed it more by now. It might come in powder form now. We don't know.
Okay. You're right. They put the powder in the capsule.
Because it wasn't an EpiPen. Anyway, but this is a different story because this is really long. They sail off. Okay, they leave.
How can that guy up there not even be laughing? You got his mouth going up from side to side. He knows this. Come on. I mean, it's entertaining, though, I think.
This research facility island, whatever it was. And they go out back into the water, whatever, and they're just doing regular fishing. Okay, nothing happens for like the first week and a half after this. It's like 2.5 weeks that they've been gone, maybe more. They go back to their port, but they are told by Captain Burgess, do not disembark the boat. We are going right back out. No one is to disembark. And they are taking orders from this guy like he is their commander-in-chief. Captain Burgess does disembark, and he's gone for about a day and a half. Well, at this time, Landon and Travis and Luke are getting together. Luke is scared shitless because he has no idea what's in these little EpiPen-looking things. They never told him or what the hell that was growing out of his arm. But this is getting kind of long, so I'll do another part to this because it's going to take me like probably 6 parts to get this all in. Part 4 to the company that catches really big fish, only they're kind of like us, if you know what I mean.
How do they allow this, but then we get flagged for saying certain things that are like, real life stuff.
Exactly.
We're trying to do good, doing good.
You can get flagged on YouTube here for
this type of stuff.
major conspiracy theories and just going too far with it.
This is just so deemed so ridiculous by YouTube that they let it slide.
Apparently,
Right?
mermaids are in.
They're in, lady. Look.
If you haven't seen parts 1 through 3, they're pinned to the top of my profile, where you won't understand this. So they pull into port, and Burgess disembarks, but tells the rest of the crew, "Do not disembark. We are going right back out." And typically, he would have let them disembark. He was gone for a day and a half, but they didn't know how long he was going to be gone. 20 minutes, a day, 2 days. And Luke is getting worried because, like I said, the thing scratched him. They treated him for a week at that biolab, whatever it was, allegedly. They give him this strange EpiPen because something starts growing.
Look at this picture.
That's like the Last Supper.
Right.
My goodness.
They're very dressed to the gills. No pun intended.
Yep.
And come on, like, who puts a like if you're eating like a rump roast, the cow on the table like that, laid out,
growing out of it. Only it's not an EpiPen, okay? So they're sitting around and they're talking, just the three of them. The rest of the crew, they're kind of sketchy people. We'll get into them later. That's another story.
They're sketchy.
Sketchier. Let me just put it like that. Dangerous. At this point, Landon, Luke, and Travis start to feel like this is more of a containment situation, if you catch my heavy drift.
Like a outbreak.
Because Luke is like, okay, they want me to come back to this facility that I don't know how to get to on my own, can't get to on my own without the help of Burgess, to get these pins every 3 months, and so they can research me now.
3 months?
And he doesn't yet know how much this is going to cost. Right. So they hatch this plan that they're going to try when they disembark again, if they're told that they can't disembark, that they're going to attempt to break into Burgess's cabin, his office type thing, just so they can try to find out a little bit more about what they're dealing with.
They find like a mermaid costume. Lady, look in there.
yeah, like a balaclava with a mermaid on it. Mermaid balaclava. So he's being researched, but he has to pay for his EpiPen.
Right.
Right.
It's like, get the story straight, lady.
Yeah.
But they know it can only be one of them. You got the rest of the crew on there.
Wouldn't he just stay there if it was like so secret of a place and maybe it was so valuable?
It's like they're always hovering, especially around Luke. It's like I said, it feels like a containment situation. Let's keep him contained and not let him out in the public yet. Captain Burgess finally returns, like I said, a day and a half later, and tells him that they are going to be shoving off, but they're going to be going over off the coast of Maine to a set of islands. And they're going to be doing regular fishing over there.
Oh, that's good.
Well, Burgess has never been a sit down and play spades with me kind of guy. Okay. And suddenly he's checking up on Luke. Hey, buddy, how you doing? How you feeling? It feels very sinister the way he's trying to buddy up to him. And there was a reason. Now, Luke has to use a special EpiPen like every 6 to 7 hours, or he starts to feel different.
Even diabetics don't check themselves that much.
No.
Maybe 6 to 7 hours? That's a lot of puncture wounds, right?
Well, didn't he just get scratched? I mean, what has he grown, a mermaid tail or something out of his wherever he got scratched? Or?
Well, she said that there's something. She said something is growing out of his wound.
Yes.
Right? She didn't say what. She didn't describe it or nothing. Right? But that sounds obsessive. 6 to 7 hours. So that's like at least 3 times a day, right?
Well, I want to know how they come up with something that would make it so he would live if this scratch had endangered his life. Like, have they had this problem before? Are there many accounts of people coming to them saying, I got bitten, I got scratched by a mermaid? Did they come up with an antidote?
That's what it seems like that, what he's injecting himself with, or so it must have happened before in their to their knowledge.
he starts having dreams of
Uh-oh.
things happening underwater that he never actually experienced. Now, in these dreams, which was very specific, he is seeing underwater, breathing underwater, having conversations with other mer people. He had been working for Burgess for over 24 months, okay? I think they said like 27 months or something like that. So he never really had empathy for him before, but he's developing it now. They go up to Maine, they're fishing, doing regular fishing for like 2 days, and then suddenly something happens to Luke. He starts feeling, he can feel that some are near. It's like, why does Burgess need these devices now? Because now he has his own mermaid detector. And normally it would have been okay for Luke, but now he has empathy for him. But at this time, he's still new to what's happening to him, and he doesn't realize that his mermaid detector is going off. So that night, he's talking to Landon and Travis, and they're sitting down eating and playing cards and stuff like that and having a drink. And he's like, look, something's happening.
If this guy's got a mermaid detector, he's going to make somebody a fortune.
Oh, yeah.
Can we find Luke?
That means we have to patent him. Can you patent a human?
Well, there's many ethical issues to do with that, but we need to find Luke because, he's a mermaid detector.
Merman.
A merman. Yes, he's a merman. And if they're worth this much money...
Yeah. Do you imagine having one of those, a mermaid detector? We'd be filthy rich. Lady Luck, we would be eating at that elite restaurant.
Exactly.
Chowing down on some mermaid. Yeah. That'd make him a sellout, though, right? He's because it sounds like he's gonna turn into one. That's what I'm,
Well, that's kind of what he's alluding to.
Yeah, Chopper Jeff. Thank you for the comment with the BS. Shit. Yeah. It's not much more. This is great though.
To me, and I don't know what it is. And Landon's like, maybe you just need to go up on a dose of your epi shot.
A dose.
And he reluctantly goes and tells Burgess because that's the only connection he has to this place that's treating him. What's happening to him? Tells him about the dreams or nightmares, the visions, and then tells him that he's having strange sensations all over his body. Like tingling, tunnel vision, and like hearing like the languages that these mer people were speaking in. Burgess tells him
the language that they typically speak is cuneiform language because cuneiform language is an alphabetical symmetry of light that is connected to the stars. It's a light language. It's a light language that is basically come from Atlantis and Lemuria when you're talking about the Hyperboreans and things of that nature. So that's pretty much the basis of the story. So now we finna get into the segue of the presentation.
All right. Thank you, B-Del, for that. And what's her name? We'll say Landon's girlfriend, allegedly.
Well, the shame.
Oh my God.
So I wonder if at the end of the 6-part series she done, we actually got an outcome for Landon. Like, is he okay now? Yeah. What does your chat think? Do they think Landon's okay now or not?
Or you think he's full-fledged merman?
Yeah. So
That's why
maybe put a
we
1.
could assume that's what.
So maybe put a 1 in the chat if you think he's a full-fledged merman now, or a 2 in the chat if you reckon he's living a normal life nowadays. We'll see what people think.
Yeah.
We'll get some feedback. NBC.
Right.
Yep.
And if he's living that normal life, it's certainly he'll be charged a bill, right? If he can't pay his bill for that EpiPen.
Well,
that facility will have to charge him.
That's if he can find the facility, because only the captain knows where it is.
Yeah, that's right. Captain Burgess, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
so Will seems to think that he's a merman nowadays. He's fully turned.
Yeah, Wheels, okay. So, that means that it's probably Captain. That's the case, Wheels. That Captain Burgess needs to keep him in a tank, right? In his office with the
With the
other
blue water.
mermaid detector, artificial mermaid detectors. He's a organic, biological. He identifies as a merman detector. Yeah,
Okay, with the blue water in the tank. Yep.
that's right. Now is
Yep.
he slimy?
I wonder what they feed him. He still didn't tell us
Yeah,
what
she
they
never
feed him.
said. Yeah.
Mm,
Wouldn't it be
so many,
ironic if
so
they
many
fed the
unanswered
mermaid?
questions. I said
They
so
have to
many
eat mermaid.
Yes. Oh, so many unanswered questions in
Yeah,
PC.
that's it. I think I want to do a part 2, Lady Luck. Are you down?
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully this lady's not in a mental hospital by the time we get around to that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Lady Luck, do you have any broadcasts coming up?
I do. I'm going live again tomorrow. I'm talking about 5 years, where we are 5 years after the lockdown.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah. Now you know the language to talk. Yeah. What language to use, right? I'm
Yes.
sure you do. Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I know language is important.
Mm-hmm. Especially when talking about that subject, huh?
Yes. Censorship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I mean, at the time when that was going down, I was listening to a lot of Alex Jones, and there was quite a bit of information he would cover about Australia, and it seemed like it was like at least in some circles, it was the epicenter of a lot of the, the draconian laws of the lockdown.
Yes. As it was, I lived about 500 metres from the border of a city and the country, and people in the city were told that they can't go to the country, but the nearest hospital and my doctor was in the country, and I was classed as being in the city because I was 500 metres away from the border. So I couldn't visit my regular doctor, couldn't go to the nearest
Wow.
hospital, had to go to a city hospital. So yeah, a couple of times we sort of walked over where the border is, and people who live there are going, well, I'm on the city side, but no, my neighbour's on the countryside. So I can't go see my neighbour. My neighbour can't come here.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it was those social engineers. They did succeed in training us about limiting our social awareness and social interactions. Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. It's still to this day, these kids wear the mask here over most of them in school.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of people here still wear them. They'll still wear them. I mean, I'll still limit my distance standing between people when I go to the
For sure.
shops.
Yeah.
You know, I will take advantage of trolley wipes if I go to a big supermarket.
Wipe it down.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So I
But
still
as
do
an
the
English
precaution.
teacher, it's very difficult to try to help some of these kids with the nuances and stuff when you can't see their mouth.
Yes.
They're speaking, yeah. And then
Yes,
you can't
it
read
is.
emotion too. A lot of times I have to guess.
Yep.
It's like, because it's very the beauty of all the muscles in our face is that we can express ourselves so much. Because a lot of times, Lady Luck, it's like I'm giving like teaching some of my classes like I'm a comedian that's bombing when he might not, but I might not even be bombing, but I just can't see their faces to tell if they're getting what I'm saying or understanding what I'm saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. It limits the social cues.
Yeah. For them too. Look at in their peer group, right?
Absolutely.
How are they gonna deal with it? It'd be crazy, bro.
Exactly. I've got a niece that teaches in Asia as well. She teaches English. Yep.
Yeah, she knows exactly because it's all the same culture, mass culture.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, a mask is good, especially if you're sick. You don't want to spread your
Yes.
you know, your
We got to be
virus.
responsible.
Right.
Yeah.
Like these people that would say like, "Oh, it's not real." I don't know how many stories I read that those people ended up dying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there's too
Me
much
too.
hubris from both sides. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what did the chat end up saying? Will thinks
Let's see what
he gonna.
he's gonna.
Read the last comment in PC.
Oh my God! Comment from Wheels. He's gonna stuff him and mount him on the wall like a marlin, huh?
Yeah.
Oh
Like a
my
deer.
God! Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Like a deer. No, he's gonna be out there. What's that beautiful place? Is it the Great Barrier Reef in Australia?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna be vacationing there. Let's get speared. Put on somebody's wall.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of strife in the Barrier Reef as far as the coral goes. There's a lot of problems with the coral and the marine life up there. It's being affected by something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's him. Maybe it's Landon.
Maybe that's
Lucas.
the
No,
research
Lucas is the
station.
one. It was Lucas is the one that was scratched. Yeah.
Yeah.
Landon is the young guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did they say this is an underwater complex that they went to get treated?
I don't. Did she? She might have said that. It would make for a better story because she just can't be normal in the story, right? It's like when someone's like trying to like get one over. Maybe you don't want to like make the most outlandish claims for every single part of the story. It's like kind of like a dead giveaway, wouldn't you say?
Well, it lends people to the thought that maybe it's being embellished a bit when you go into that much detail. And she's very expressive about it when she's telling the story as well. Like, this isn't her story. It's third party, but she's very expressive.
Third party.
Yeah, it's like she wants to. She's trying overly to convince people that what she's saying is true.
Now, someone like I guess I'm not trying to glaze so much. Glaze means to like, oh, Lady Luck, you're so great. But I think you telling that same story, I think you'd be a lot more believable in your manner and the way you share things. It'd be way more believable.
Yeah, I wouldn't do what she's done. She's just made it, and taking 6 parts to keep coming back and be very animated in telling the story. It just, it red flags people for, is this lady for real?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we shall see. So tomorrow you're gonna go on the afternoon your time or morning?
No, it'll be the morning my time.
The morning. Okay, let's see. We're in the island of Formosa, Taiwan. We're about what time is it there now? Right now? Right now?
It's mid-afternoon.
3?
Yep.
3. Okay, so you're 3 hours ahead. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So you're gonna go like 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock
10.
tomorrow? 10. Okay, what's to be 7? Yep. Okay, yeah, I'll be there. I'm gonna be there. I'll be in the chat or whatever. Yeah.
No worries. We can come up if you like.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hey, just when we said that, Uncle Fatty showed up. I haven't seen him in a minute.
I saw that Heinz57 comment.
Uncle Fatty with a comment. Grandpa Fatty, actually. Do merman taste the same as mermaids? High 57 or Worcestershire? I'll take the Heinz. It's the vinegar and the sugar more than the tomato. Red or white wine, mermaid chowder, mermaid potatoes, mermaid gumbo, mermaid stew. So many. I want a mermaid taco salad. Exotic.
So what would you have? What kind of sauce would you have with a mermaid? I mean,
with a mermaid?
Yes, if you're an elite person, like you're sitting there dining and they put this mermaid laid out on the table, and what sauces are you gonna, or condiments that you're gonna use?
Well, if this mermaid was sourced out of like the Southeast Asia, I would literally get what the locals would get, like Vietnamese fish sauce.
Yes.
I would take that. I think that'd be excellent. Ketchup is my go-to, but this is an elite meal. You said, Lady Luck, pinky up, right?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Me, I'd probably do the fish sauce.
Fish sauce, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
No.
like I said, mermaids are half human, half fish. So that leads to a whole different dilemma that we spoke about before.
Yeah, how do we get around that? I mean, how do we speak on that and refer to that? Because you don't want to use the C word. You said, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you were alluding to.
Yes. Yeah, well, mermaids are supposed to be half human and half fish. So how do you consume a mermaid?
From
the fish are
waist up?
only with, yes, from the waist. How do you consume a mermaid from the waist down without harming the waist up? Is a good question.
I don't think it can be done. Well,
because
I've seen people that
talking...
that are torso bodies like that, humans, but they are born like that mostly.
Yes, but I mean that's an ethical dilemma. But they're talking about the whole lot of the mermaid being consumed, so that leads to,
Yeah, that's a great question. I might have to do a community post on that.
Yep.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, moral question.
It's it is a moral question. Good to see you. Oh, leopard print. Yeah, leopard. She's still here. Great. Leopard print. Leopard print NPC. Grandpa Fatty. Yeah, you don't be dipping no merman in ketchup unless you're the president. Yeah, he puts that stuff on everything. Yeah, he did. I used to do the same thing until I got cultured. You know what, Uncle Fatty? Grandpa Fatty, what if we do what they call a fancy sauce, where you take the mayonnaise and the ketchup? There you go. Almost like a tartar sauce. Oh, I didn't even think about it, Lady Luck.
Yeah,
tartar sauce.
Tartar sauce.
Wow.
That's true. So would they be up there on the menu up near your caviar or a bit higher than caviar? Like, what are we talking elite here?
I think we're in between the caviar and abalone.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. It's not what you like. I'm not one with the caviar because we're a big sushi island here in Taiwan. And it was colonized by the Japanese. So the sushi's big here, right? And I'm not, my son likes that. Like, the sushi with the fish, eggs and stuff. I'm not really one like that. I'd rather have the meat. The meat, the fish meat.
I'd rather the sushi.
Yeah.
Even over like black caviar, I'd rather the sushi. Yes. Yeah. It's very easy to make, folks. Sushi. I've made it at home before. My kids love it when they were young.
Yeah. You expose them to some good stuff.
But we didn't use mermaids.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of. That's my disclaimer.
That you're aware of, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know remember they used to have dolphins get chopped in the netting, right? We heard stories about that. So I'm sure now you want the merman to get trapped if you're in a so-called elite. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, there's big dilemmas being put up about shark fin soup.
Oh yeah, it's very big for Chinese food.
Yes,
it's illegal actually in San Francisco where I used to live, in the Chinatown. Yeah. But they still have it off menu, Lady Luck, depending on who you know. I've been to restaurants where they offered it to us and we got it.
Yep. But there's a lot of kickback about shark fin soup being served and
right. Oh, marinara sauce, Wheels says. Yeah.
Yep.
If that's the case, I want to have some of those this nice bread cheese buns or something with that. Sounds good. Hey Zephyr, what's up?
Cheese with fish.
There's a very famous restaurant in America called Red Lobster. Lady Luck. It's a franchise seafood place, and for some of us who grew up, on the wrong, that were little, our social economic status was not that high. This Red Lobster was actually like the closest we got to going to a 5-star dining, right? And
Yes.
and it was great. We used to go there for like Easter, like first communions, stuff like that. Special occasions, Mother's Day. But could you imagine like catch of the day, mermaid,
Yes.
mermaid, yeah.
But I mean, they've got issues with shark fins being used as soup, but what they don't have an issue with mermaids.
They don't.
Is
I
what
don't
she's
think so.
saying.
No.
Interesting.
Which is weird because it's humanoid, allegedly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Now we're having good. Go ahead.
This story almost inspires me to put on a pair of flippers and goggles and go looking for this research station.
Maybe like John Lilly with the dolphins.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Until I get down so deep like Jacques Cousteau did, and
you hear the screams.
Hear the screams. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Now that's real.
Mm-hmm.
That's documented. He actually. That's horrible.
Yes.
And it goes down to what when we started off. I don't know if you saw the beginning when I was Pastor Kim, the Baptist preacher from. He was talking, breaking them down, and was saying that in the King James Bible, the lower you get down in the sea is where it says where hell is, because it would make sense if you followed that model, right?
Yes.
And he was saying that like in the Bible it says all creatures of the earth, or aka dry land, were destroyed during the flood, and the only thing that survived was Noah's Ark, the animals on Noah's Ark, his family, right? So
that's it.
This is just the dry land animals.
Yep.
So what he's saying is like it was alluding to that some of these creatures, they may have gone underground, in the sea, or below the sea, or they were already there already. Yeah, and these are where monsters come from.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said, if the oceans dry up, everything's going to have to adapt to walking on land.
Right. Everything, like those crabs. That's why you were like, that was a red flag when you saw that. You caught that quick on the preview of that movie, Survive. You're like, wait a minute. It would take some time for those deep sea crabs to evolve in walking, right, on land.
Yes.
It's a different physics, right?
Yes.
In the bottom of the ocean, the deep sea. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Markella, good to see you.
Hi, Markella. There's even theories that dinosaurs started in the water and adapted.
Okay. Yeah. So they started in the water, moved to the land, and then ended up in the air as birds. Interesting.
Yes.
Wow, that's like all the modalities right there that we know of. Yeah.
It's like they fully evolved into into all the spaces.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if what was the chap's name? Travis, that got scratched.
The guy that got Lucas is the guy that got becoming a merman allegedly, and then Landon is the young guy. Guy, straight out of prison. He got this very lucrative, highly top secret job.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know how he landed that with coming out of prison, but
supposedly he has connection with his cousin.
Ah. Right. Well, if Travis is it Travis is the one that got scratched?
Travis is the cousin that told Landon about the job, and Lucas is the one that got scratched.
Lucas. Yeah. Well, hopefully Lucas is out there living a good life, walking the land, not the sea.
He's a day walker. No, I hope so too. We'll send our best out.
Yes.
Normally I would say I pray for him, but I take that seriously. Yeah, I'm not gonna say. We'll say we wish him the best. Huh? Right?
Yes,
yeah.
That's what we're trying to say. We wish you the best, Lucas.
Now, I hope this ages well. This broadcast, Lady Luck, in a couple years from now, where this shit becomes a normal thing. We see at the Red Lobster and see like mermaid. Holy crap! Now you know you're in clown world. If that's the case, huh?
And then we'll replay this and we'll be going, we said that, and they're real.
I know. It actually was happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. You never know though, right? It's that 1%. You
no,
never
I guess
know.
not.
Because like this could be happening. It just might not be happening with this ridiculous narrative in that way. Right?
Yep.
So
it could be. I mean, you never know what's really happening, but you never know. But hopefully we won't eat our words in a couple of years when this is actually proven.
Right.
Yes.
As long as we can make it out of the Trump presidency. President Trump.
Absolutely.
That's Taiwan will still be here, yeah. And,
I hope so.
Absolutely. It has to be.
Yes.
Lady Luck, I got a question from Zephyr. This is a good question right here. Shall we pray for the enlightenment of our enemies? Damn.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not if your name's on their wall.
No.
Yeah.
Or something else like Wheels alluded to on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like like Lucas the merman mounted like a marlin. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Uncle Fatty, Grandpa Fatty with the comment. The newly evolved, upgraded Grandpa Fatty. Did the cut off finger grow a new bot? Like like a potato, right? Can't you grow like from the sprout?
You can.
You can, right?
Yeah, you cut off one of the eyes and plant and
like a wart.
Replant it. Yes, and it grows back.
Well, this means it could be a virus, merman species. Sounds like a virus to me.
I wonder if he went on to have children.
Well, they said he has a family. He has a Lucas has a wife and she said Lucas has a wife and Lucas and Travis have wife and family, and good old Landon, the youngie, the noob, he has a girlfriend, right? And which I think, this is just me, Lady Luck, I think the narrator is the girlfriend, actually, the sugar mama, maybe. Well, actually, he's probably getting paid good doing that job.
But I mean, if he went on to have more kids, what would them kids be? Merkids?
Merkids, yeah. They'd be the children of the fallen angel.
Yes.
The fallen ones, yeah. This is getting deep, man.
It is.
I bet tapeworms would know.
I
think everyone's been, yeah, you're right. In the Zephyr, I know that the higher top tier consciousness way to look at that is to say, yeah, of course, I want the enlightenment of everybody. This is why we named our son, who this channel is for, Benjamin Bodhi. We named his middle name Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva was about to reach enlightenment, and before he was able to do that, he said, hold on. He's on, I can't feel, I won't feel right until every sentient being is free from the bondage of, self or whatever, or like, so he went back. So, yeah, I get it, but I ain't trying to get no enemies. This is why I don't really talk about anybody, even though there's stupid drama. Lady Luck, what I did before we shut it down, 'Cause this has been an excellent broadcast. I loved having you up here. You fucking amazing. I
Thank you.
I literally, thank you. Yeah, I literally unsubbed to almost every single person in the panelverse. Yeah,
Yep.
the other day.
Mm.
Yeah, it hasn't been coming up on my algorithm, and it's been
Mhm.
nice, Lady Luck. It's been nice.
Yes, I've just been enjoying doing my own channel and kind of doing my topics and and just doing my own thing, and it's been nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're gonna continue it tomorrow. All right.
Yes.
So.
Yep. Okay.
I
Well,
hope you
I'll jump.
enjoy yourself tonight.
Yes, you too, NPC. So I'll jump down, and like I said, thank you very much for having me up. And everyone
Our
in the chat, please do not forget to hit the like and share NPC channel out to all your friends and family.
Thank you, Lady Luck.
Thank you, NPC. Bye.
Blessings. Peace and paradise, Lady Luck. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, it's not there anymore. Okay. Yeah. Oh, dang. That was a legend. The legend. That was the first time Lady Luck came up, I think. And it was great. Oh, man. That was a lot of fun rocking with her. And it's been fun. And riding out with y'all. Yeah. Yeah, I know, huh, Zeph? Zeph in a leopard print. Clean spring cleaning for sure. Absolutely. And then all this great stuff has come up, like old channels that were bogged down, that weren't getting my attention, are coming up again. And it's like, it's the Mercury retrograde. You know, I think it's going on to the 6th. It started on the 14th of March. And I'm literally revisiting these old channels and old friends too, reconnecting. Right? Zephyr, comment. How clean should the springs be? Well, clean. They should be clean enough to handle my emotion. Let's keep it like that. So shout out to everyone in the chat. Much love, Sherelle, Shadow Buddha in the house, bitch. Patrick, Ruck, Godhard Guardian, most conscious person in the panelverse. Ruled by Saturn over there on the other side of the pond. Great to see you. It's been a minute. Tenacious Thorn Leon. Appreciate you with the knowledge, the biblical knowledge. I want to hear about that debate between you and Pastor Kim. Wheels, always a pleasure. Thank you for your comment. Hopefully we won't see a merman mounted on anybody's wall anytime soon. That seems very disturbing. Gracie Gray, much love. Markella, always a pleasure. Chopper Jeff, thank you, bro. And the Great Leopard print. It's been real. It's been real. Much love. And I want to see you. Like we talked about mermaids and in the Nephilim, giants, the fallen angels, as they say, right? Which, in my opinion, I'll bring it down to Occam's razor to the most practical thing. These are great men and women that came down to earth, right? And became our ancestors. Strangeness with Taiwan versus China. The one China, two system policy is what's keeping it together right now. And as we have this shield of silicon protecting us with our microchips here from a Chinese invasion anytime soon, let's just hope that these two cousins, mainland China, CCP, and the democracy of Taiwan, can reach an agreement to agree to disagree and live like they are now. I mean, in relatively peace without all of that chatter and whatnot. So we still got a lot of great things to do. This is a beautiful country, Taiwan. The landscapes, aesthetics are beautiful. The food is delicious, like I said, amazing, and the people are, they're genuine and they're good people, young and old. They'll welcome you. I really enjoyed being with y'all tonight and this afternoon for me. Good night. Night. Great stream. I love this one. NBC. I really enjoyed building with y'all. I love it how we ended. We started with 9, we ended with 16. Don't forget, guys. I love y'all. I'll never forget that. I mean it. I don't take that lightly when I say that. So until next time, which will be Wednesday. No, excuse me, Monday in the wilderness of North America, Tuesday over here in Asia. I'm gonna do the hood hood horror stories. This should be great. Yeah. Check out this video I made. Oh yeah, we talked about the Little Mermaid and the subconscious. I don't know if you guys. So if you hit the rewind on this, that was great. As I dove into analyzing the sea and the Little Mermaid as the unconscious that's pushing the conscious mind, and how Ariel emerging to the surface from her carefree subconscious day, emerging to the surface is like the ego emerging, and as she emerged, and off of sheer conscious moral obligation, aka the super ego, rescued her prince, and in doing so, she had to forfeit the use of her tongue, of her beautiful siren song, in order to go on land and be with her prince. She humbled herself, right? And she couldn't even walk. She took her mermaid tail exchangement for legs. It was like her voice for her motion, right, on land. So it was a cool breakdown, you know. Shout out to the women out there who are down for their men, and the men out there protecting and honoring their women. We'll see you soon. I'm gonna have to play some Fortnite with Ben. This has been Ben's broadcast. NPC the game. Yeah. I love you all. Here's my mermaid story with my Rebecca, Miss NPC. Peace, y'all.